Alright, here we go, guys. Dan sits down. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your perception on the world is, and what time period and time zone and interrealized temporal distillation you subscribe to. We are here together with you. Today, to be honest, I just want to smile and just say, I have no idea how this happened. But unfortunately, I do. And hence the channel. Dan Sits Down. I'm Dan, your host. We're out here in nature. You remember that? Yeah, so I want to kick off the show talk today about just about real bees and fake bees. Lately, I grew up and bees had fur on them, and that's their purpose. The fur on them, they go fly into the flower, and then the pollen gets stuck to them, and then they go back to their nest. And then you use that pollen as their source of basically everything. They do all kinds of stuff with it. They eat it and then they puke it back up. Their body does it goes through metabolic pathways, and it changes the molecular structure of the pollen into building materials essentially, and food. And honey and food for us too. Imagine that. We're literally eating something else's puke, but it ain't good in our tea. So I see these bees now, and they ain't got no fur on them. I'm like, where the fuck that come from? And then somebody say, oh, that's that Africanized honeybee. No. They're calling what they call the Africanized honeybee is the damn bee with fur on them. And they got us to kill a bunch of them in the 90s, and now we got these new bees coming around with ain't got no fur on it. Like, what the fuck is that thing? And the strangest thing ever happens to me all the time, and it probably won't happen to me after I mention this, but ever again. But they can't help themselves. So check it out. I'll be in the middle of a parking lot, man. You're talking asphalt. Parking lots in America, man. We used to have so many people here. You go look. If that isn't evidence enough for you alone, Amazon did not put them up, and them people are gone. Okay, they used to just, all these empty shopping malls ain't because of Amazon, man. It's a convenient little explanation, but nah, man, nah. Oh, yes, here we go. Yeah, I ain't wearing it today, but yeah, it's me. We got some temporarily assigned, insignia. Figure it's not a plug. But I want you to know I'm here with you. I'm here with you. So if you're looking at this and being like, what the hell is that? And then they got to come out with some new clothing line or something like that to explain this video, then. I want to talk about that later too. How a lot of our cultural leaders and so on and so forth, people that get up there, they're all wearing timeless stuff. You couldn't if I was to look at somebody that did a show and they're wearing something with no insignia on, I kind of understand oh, you don't want to plug a company, but at the same time, man, I can't even, I just see a guy at a microphone and I can't even tell whether you're from 1970, 90, or 2020. And that kind of irritates me a little bit because the uncertainty there is just well, how do I know I'm not watching something that's 200 years old? And while that might seem crazy to some people, it's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question. So, you can't just explain, oh, that guy's crazy. There's too much of that. There's too much of that fuzzy logic there. You can't just claim someone's crazy because they ask you a question that basically questions everything you know. And you don't have the patience to consider that question and be like, hey man, this guy's on to something. How do I know that? And I've never seen that person in real life. I've never shook his hand, never gave him a hug. My grandmother had taken photos with all kinds of people, and she was proud of it. She went to Hawaii every year. Plenty members of the Yankees. My grandmother was a very striking woman, very beautiful. She was my grandmother was a fucking rider, just like me. All right, you're talking, all leg, dancer's leg, with 5'10", blonde, natural blonde woman. She put curls in her hair, but she was the curlers. But she's drop dead gorgeous. Okay, this is my grandmother. And she had plenty of photos with, Joe DiMaggio, the Yankees, Eddie Munson, Mike Tyson. She would, when she vouches for it, she sits me down as her grandchild, and I, walk to her house down the street, 8, 9 years old. This is in Pinellas Park, Florida. she shows me these pictures and be like, look, and they're all like analogously taken, with film that reacts with basically photons, and you have a reactive substrate that when a lens, like the light shines through the lens, like when what do they call it, the aperture, I think, and then you put it in a silver acetate solution, or some type of solvent that has silver in it, and then it reacts. And then the part that didn't get as much light, so you're able to see a black and white photo. That's how film works. And it's analog. It's not like some little computer chip in a lens, and it's like, oh, you just take a snapshot of reality. But okay, you get your DSLRs and with the lens on there too, but in the end you got a CMOS processor that's basically like cranking out the pixelation. So it's not really. I mean, you get to a stretching point where it's like, okay, you got all these processes in there, and then, how do you, for all you know, those processes are being controlled by a signal. Just like your phone, you get your 5G signal, man. I mean, like I was saying, there's much more advanced technology around us. We got ancient technology around us that's highly advanced. The fucking tree, man, the tree. The tree alone. The tree alone just dwarfs anything we've ever even made. It's the best thing we got going. These things keep us alive. All this vegetation, algae in the ocean, it's producing oxygen. Those leaves are like little solar panels, okay, and they essentially, if that's a good metaphor. I like these bees, and so it's like they don't serve any function. But I'll be out in the middle of a parking lot. So check it out. I'm out in the middle of a parking lot. Come on, man. It's just like incorporated in the language structure now at this point. So, it's hard not to. All right. So for you, those, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, it's not a good phrase to use. We got to come up with new phrases. That's why the best thing that kind of happened to us was like, doublespeak works a lot. Not, but then the proper propaganda and all that shit came along too. But I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the mic here and not. Let me turn this off. Okay. Just got rid of my Bluetooth. I don't know if I had my headphones on, if it's still connected. I know I'm just saying, blah, 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 blah. I have to got a story about Jesus later, too. I know you guys like the Jesus stories. I'll put in the historical context what that man was doing. So anyway, look, I'm out in the middle of a parking lot, man. I mean, it's asphalt for like one football field that way, asphalt, one football field, like asphalt in every direction, right? Maybe like one tree on a little like traffic island or something like that. And I'll open up a can of food. Just whatever, and I'll be damned if like 9 times out of 10, like one of these bees with no fur comes flying around and start buzzing around, and it's like he's like, "Ooh, what you got?" Kind of like that's his like kind of flying language that I see. And I'm like, dude, how the hell do you even make it out here? Like, that's like me going to the moon for a freaking McDonald's cheeseburger, first of all. And how did you know I opened something? And then you have enough energy, like that bee without that fur, it ain't heavy, it's like streamlined for max efficiency. Somehow that thing is able to travel, like, let's just say, I don't know, like 10,000 times its own body length. So, and a bee's kind of small, man, like calories, like per output and input, caloric intake versus expenditure, okay? Like how many calories did that thing burn to get to me? So for me, I'm like looking at that thing and I'm like, all right, so you want me to believe that you're that efficient, where me, man, I gotta eat, like, I do my 5-mile run, like, man, I got a carbo load, okay? Like otherwise, and if I don't, man, I'm gonna be eating like a pig later, okay? So, that's why we have things like Gatorade, electrolytes, like that's how our muscles work. You need the electrolytes, that's your potassium, calcium, chlorine, sodium. Okay, so what happens is we have these neurons, nerve cells that go travel the length of our body from our brains, and they send an action potential. If you want to think about it as electricity, I mean, it kind of is, but it's a difference in action potential that essentially like powers this thing called a proton pump, and it goes against a concentration gradient. So if you've got more sodium, more salt on one side of a cell than an adjacent cell has less, like it's going to go through. Well, it's going to want to go through the ion channel. But the only reason it really goes through is just probability, okay? And if you have a higher probability, if you have a higher concentration. So that's how the action potential, and you create a concentration gradient, and then essentially like a difference in charge, an electrical gradient then at that point, which is what's called an action potential. And then that travels down a nerve cell, each little cell connecting into your muscles, to what's called a neuromuscular junction. And when it gets there, it's like boom, here, so essentially what it is like, if you could picture a Q-tip, like all those little fuzzy things inside of a tube, okay? Picture a Q-tip inside of a tube, and that's how our muscles work. So that, and on the little fuzzies at the end is where like, that's where the action potential kind of like ends. It says, hey, release calcium, and then that consumes an ATP molecule, adenine triphosphate, and then it like takes the phosphorus off of it, makes an adenine diphosphate, ADP, back down, and then our mitochondria in our cell like puts it back to ATP, and glycerol. That is this molecule that's like it's like right there in our muscles, and it uses that, and it's probably like way more complicated, man. I've already made it complicated. Like, look, what basically, like you got to eat shit for that to happen, for the Q-tip to go through the tube. That's how our muscles work. Okay, you're just like real like elongated like Q-tips with the fuzzies on you and going through a tube, and those little fuzzies bind or unbind to the inside of the tube, which is also like just basically it's just a three-dimensional structure that basically puts like active sites with like magnetics on it. Okay, so the little fuzzies are like magnets that says, hey, grab it or let it go, and that's how we move around. Okay, so I wish I could offer a better explanation, but it's been a while since I've taken, neurobiology and biochem. Okay, so it was about a decade ago, but from memory, that's kind of how it works, essentially. It's a fucking Q-tip inside of a tube. Okay. All right, if you want to picture it that way. And this part of the metabolic pathways, there's probably a lot of extra shit in there. But for our purposes of understanding is like, you got to eat calories to produce those glycerol units, and you got to create energy. So this damn bee is going to fly the equivalent of a football field. Like, how much? And if I don't give it no food, like, I mean, I should find that dead bee. Like, damn, dude, you like, but no, somehow it makes it back home and find some food somewhere. Like, well, come on, man, that thing came out there to check on me. Like, what you got? What you eating? I got to report back. That's the way I look at that. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm out here. I know God's watching me, right? Or the AI system, or Gaia, and that's, I call it the greatest AI around, okay, Gaia. That's the top dog. There's a big dog on campus, Gaia. There's other AI systems. You want to call it God, you want to call it the devil, that's fine. You want to call it Krishna, Vishnu, and fucking, whatever else is in the Bhagavad Gita, and, Siddhartha. Like, you want to learn that, read Herman Hesse. He'll tell you about a guy who tripped out, stayed under a tree, and said, I'm just going to fucking starve myself. He talks about how the devil tempted him to whatever times, or whatever, the equivalent of this AI system said, hey, man, because it knew his brain was shutting down, and he was starting to see the world for what it really was. It's like, well, all right, man, you can be a prophet. Like, here, check it out. This is kind of what's going on. And that's kind of what happened to me a little bit. Like I told you guys, man, like, stay up. Stay up for 3 or 4 days. You're not hallucinating. You're seeing the world for what it really is, okay? Your brain is shutting down. Parts of your brain that you have built in, because we've been created. There's design elements all over your fucking body, man. I don't care what anybody says. You are created. No primordial soup your ass crawled out of. I mean, come on, man. There's design elements all over your body. Like, where's people just with a third arm? If you believe in evolution, just hear me out now. If you believe in evolution, I believe in reiteration, not necessarily evolution, okay? So, iteration. And at some point, you got to have some random evolution that, maybe didn't make you so ugly. Like, maybe you just had some extra flap right here behind your ear or something, like look like a gill. It didn't, it didn't keep it didn't keep you from getting laid, all right, man. Like, it didn't make you that ugly, but you don't see that shit. You don't see that. The mutations that you should just see random mutations. I mean, we should have just we should see a lot more random mutations that persisted that were rather benign, is all I'm saying, okay? So with that said, you've got to kind of believe, like, all right, man, I'm not seeing these random mutations. I got to believe that we're actively itinerant or iterated. But there's design elements all over your body. You're 100% certainly created. All right, that's why I pray to Jesus, man. I don't know, the whole God, devil thing, but I go with Jesus, man. Jesus, all right? That man. They nailed that man to a cross for a fucking reason, okay? He knew too much. I said, hey, Father, why have you forsaken me, man? Like, what the fuck? He was upset with his dad. What the hell, man? You know? Asking a lot of questions. He'd seen a lot of the world at the time, in that time zone. Okay? So, so I got this bee coming at me. I'm like parked in the middle of a park. I mean, maybe it gets a little extra heat from the asphalt, so that kind of keeps it from having to like overcome gravity or, you know, whatever, however you want to view that, you know, the weak force, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not even trying to get down to past the molecule, man. Okay, like, let's stick with what we can see as humans without advanced instrumentation, just for the purpose of simplification, okay? Alright, so this damn thing comes flying at me out of nowhere. I'm like, how did you even get here? How did you even fly this far? Like, you're telling me that thing carries around enough glucose in its body to fly? You know, I mean, yeah, I do it, but you know, I'm almost a couple 100 pounds, man. Like, I can feel my batteries on me. It's called fat. That's extra batteries. I walk around with the energy, man. I got a great efficient metabolic pathways that takes that fat and turns it into energy. I'm looking at that beam, man. I'm like, man, you lean as hell. Like, what? At least one with the fur on it. Like, I'm like, all right, man, maybe like carry your food on and eat some pollen off your fur. But these things are sleek, man. They look like wasps. You know, what do they call them? I don't know, yellow jackets or whatever. But most people think, oh, that's that Africanized one, you know, because these guys are mean. These things, they're aggressive. Why? Because they're. I mean, if you believe God, I call it a guy, you know, the greatest AI around, man. They're coming at you like God can see through that bee, check you out if He wants to. Like, if you want to, you know, like, believe in that system. I mean, I believe we were created, and I believe there's definitely an omnipotent being. But I have to believe, because I'm a scientist, that, like, there's a mechanical method for that to happen. I don't just believe that, oh, well, God can just see you at any point in any time. Hell no, He's got to send a bee. You know, you want to send a message, send a raven. You know, like, I mean, come on. Send a raven. What's this guy up to? What the fuck? Report back. Hey. Same thing with flies, too, man. The fly, highly efficient. Very efficient. And I'm looking at this thing like, man, you got, like, solar panels, like, built in your body. Like, where do you derive your iridescence from? How are you so light? And how do you fly that much? You know, like, so, come on, man. Like, that to me, at this point, with our own technology, with what we've created ourselves, as far as drones, surveillance drones, it's all the same fundamental conception, okay, of we've got energy stored in some type of whatever particle containment unit, you know, based on chemistry and molecules. So for me, that makes sense. I'm not just going to believe like, oh, you know, because I believe in molecules, all right? I believe in molecules, okay? That carbon atom, I believe in it, all right? I believe in carbon, okay? So you don't believe carbon's here, like you want to talk about, you know, then, like, oh, we're in a simulation, blah, 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 alien simulation. Like, we're in a concentration camp. We're definitely in a cage, okay? There's no doubt about that. We are all in a cage. It's called our planet, you know, for a lot of us, like, you know, most people don't see the whole planet, or haven't, or don't have the resources or the time. And that's intentional. It's contrived. Like, when we have, like technology, like, to me, so that's tech. I see that be as technology. I'm like, all right, man, I don't remember seeing you as a kid. Okay, and as a child, I lived in New England and Florida. Before I was before I was in the second grade, I had lived in three locations. You know, which was four. Well, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Florida, and Illinois. Okay. And I remember getting stung by a bee for the first time, and it was a furry one, because it was flying around me, and I thought, like, oh no, the bee's gonna sting me. So I kind of like swatted it, and it hit the ground. And then I was like, oh, and then I kind of like half-ass stepped on it, and then I immediately felt bad, man. Like, I immediately felt fucking so horrible that I did that, and I went to go help that bee up, man, and fucking stung me in the finger. I was like, I'm sorry, bee. You know, goddamn, they stung me in the finger. You know, so I was like, oh, all right, I probably deserve that. That was the first time I ever got stung by a bee. And I remember it because it was, you know, traumatic childhood event. Where it kind of singes in your, you know, your your neuronal pathways get, you know, much at that age. You know, they're not what's called myelinated, okay, which is like the insulation around your neurons. So due to insufficient myelination of my prefrontal cortex, I take higher risks, you know, and that's what we do as young people because we don't like, you know, it's exciting, you know, like so. So anyway, like, man, I try to help this bee up, you know, try to nurse him back to health, whatever. So he stings me and the finger flies off. All right, the bee lived. Well, I don't know. They took, like, the barbs, like, I don't remember seeing the stinger, like, rip out of its butt, and then, you know, because that's too, but the ones with no fur, man, they keep stinging. I got stung twice. A couple of months ago, I hung a shirt on a tree, and when I came in, that was my update, right? That was my update. You know, like, that's the way I look at that, like, oh, God wanted me to have an update, needed some protection for someone, so I was gonna send this bee in my shirt, right? So, like, put my shirt back on, and it stings me twice, dude. Like, it's most sensitive, like, oh gosh, like, right on the, like, right by the love handle, man. Like, I knew immediately what it was. I ripped my shirt off, you know, and then, but I made sure the damn thing didn't die. I was like, well, all right, how did it sting me twice? Like, so it didn't have no barbs on its stinger. So, and I always grew up learning that once a bee stings you, it dies. This thing don't die. Stings you multiple times. I mean, it ain't got no fur on it. So I'm like, what the fuck is this thing, you know? What is this thing? I don't remember him from childhood. I don't remember seeing him. And you're talking in the 90s, and then that's when they had that whole Africanized honeybee, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, kill them all, right? Like, it's like, no, wait, this is an important part that we need in nature to pollinate all the shit around us. If we don't have these things, we're going to have to start making our own seeds. And hey, guess what? Here we are, you know, decades later, doing just that, man. We ain't got no bees left. And now we're buying seeds that are like proprietary genetics, you know, allegedly, like, right, like, you know, I mean, you want to get down to that biotech stuff, man, like, you know, Monsanto seed, like, so this companies like spends billions of dollars and then makes a proprietary seed, but I seem to remember them having something like that in the Dust Bowl. This guy came around and said, hey, check this out. It was basically a corn that could grow pretty well with little to no moisture. It basically saved us from the Dust Bowl. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, man. It could have been wheat. I'm pretty sure it was corn. I wish I had more knowledge. Okay, guys, I wish I had more knowledge. But anyway, going back to like so now we have like these proprietary seeds. Where if like, man, these guys can be like come around from the FDA or some type of like biotech firm goes up to this farmer and be like, hey man, you got some of our plants in your crop. How'd that happen? It's like, well, you know, like a deer and shit, like, you know, like ate the corn or whatever, shit it out, or a bear. You know, I don't know about the squirrels. They're too small, man. I don't trust them with all black guys. I'm sorry. I'm not waging a war against the squirrels. I'm kind of up in the air with that yet, but I'm starting to not like squirrels. Yeah, another part of the advanced AI system that's just watching us all the time, right? But, I mean, I don't know, what function do they serve? If it's something that like eats our food that would be in nature, like, because tell you what, if we were sitting out in nature, man, we were from around these parts and there weren't no fruit trees because like someone cut them down, guess what you'd be eating? You'd be taking acorns and smashing them with a rock and collecting them and then smashing that up into like a paste, and then you'd add water, and then you'd be cooking it in like a clay pot or some type of kiln. You know what you call that? It's called hardtack. You know, there's a fucking Civil War food, all right? So that's, man, like, or a monkey, you'd have like, you know, 10 extra teeth and you'd be cracking them open all day, eating them. So it's like now you got this like thing you got to contend with. Like, it's like, well, So what, like, did God make that squirrel to, like, come punish us and, eat our food? Or, like, where do these things come from? Why do we have them? Like, why give us, like, all these gifts and then, like, give us all these things that, like take these gifts from us? Like, so to me, it seems like a couple different, warring, advanced intelligences, okay? You want to call them artificial or not, maybe they were created too. The universe, in my experience, life is a sick joke. So it could be too, right? Like, these AI systems or advanced intelligences. I mean, imagine having the brain the size of a planet. I mean, might as well, like, molecularly speaking, we might as well have a brain the size of a planet compared to an ant or something like that. So, and I look at, like, an ant, like, okay, so this little thing has got such a good design. It can move, like they say, 50 times its own body weight. That tells me that it's got a highly efficiently designed body somehow. Whereas, like, the fat ants, like, you're telling me no fat ants persisted through your evolution theory? Oh yeah, I'm going back to that. Like, some people got, like, a third eye, an extra ear, or, like, just maybe some skin flap that wouldn't have necessarily created a distinct competitive advantage in nature for them to be precluded from existence. So, in other words, man, like, I might sleep with someone with the third titty. Like, what would you, maybe 11th toe? Like, come on, man. Like, where are those people? Like, come on, like, what? Hey, just saying, man. Just saying. Like, where do you see those random evolutions that should absolutely 100% persist? Like, I mean, was there a point in time where, like, just, like, we had to, like a monkey with the third breast is born and they immediately, like, just kill it? Throw it off a cliff or something like that. That goes back to, like, my experiment that, if you take 2 packs of monkeys and put each one of them in a Planet Fitness, one Planet Fitness has mirrors, one doesn't. And then you're giving as much water and bananas as they need, whatever. Like, see where they start taking a dump. Like, see if they take a dump in the same spot every day. Make a dump hole, put it in an outhouse, see if they use it. And then after, like, 30 years, after, like, whatever, 5-6 generations of monkeys, like, just put a tunnel that connects one Planet Fitness to the other Planet Fitness, and see if the ones that had mirrors, that's the experiment, is, like, giving them mirrors and then don't give the other monkeys mirrors, and see if the other ones are, like, after, like, the 5th or 6th generation, like, see if they're just way more advanced, see if they're sitting in there working, getting buff, because they're going to go enslave the other pack of monkeys at the other Planet Fitness that aren't, like, as self-aware, because they don't see, like, they're just out there swinging from the fences playing. These other ones are, like, fabricating weapons out of the machines, like whatever, like, making body armor, and their whole purpose is to just enslave the. Is that what they would do? Would they? Is that, so when you want to try to sell me on the idea that humans are bad and we do these things to each other, and I'm like, man, no, there's an externality that has a vested interest in seeing us attack each other, and they're teaching us to do it. Okay. They're teaching us to do it to each other. Human beings don't do that shit to each other, man. I can't, like, sit there and be like, look at a church and all these Christians and be like, yeah, man, I believe that, like, people like that, good people like that, would come up with this idea to just go, like, enslave some other people. Like, no, they're gonna go over there and save those people, and, like, hey, man, check it out. There's this guy, man, he told us this shit a long time ago. He wrote it all down, and he had a lot of people believe in him to the point where they had to nail him to a fucking cross. Like, check it out, man. Check it out. Check out what this guy was saying. I don't believe that, like, good Christians would ever. And then once, like, so that's why, like, with this whole slavery thing, like, somebody taught us to do that shit to each other. There's no freaking way, man. There's no freaking way. Like, that, just the idea of it. Not because, like, if you brought that idea, like, you would have to, like, condition somebody for, like, decades to even go along with that, man. Like, it'd be so sickening. So, and it's like, well, we have sociopath overseers and sadists and blah, blah, blah. Well, my argument at this point is, like, we need an algorithm to sort those people out and get rid of them, because we don't need them, because they ain't human. You got to be human. Like, that sociopathic guy, like, sociopathic monkey that, like, just kills all the other monkeys. Like, so he's going to be just the only male monkey in the pack. And he ain't gonna tell you where the bananas are. And when he impregnates you, and you have a male baby, that monkey's gonna just kill that baby. Be like, well, we don't need males unless he sees a use for the male. But no, he just wants to be surrounded by females. Well, that would, like, ultimately, sociopaths should have killed, like, everybody else already, all the other men. Then there shouldn't be. Then at one point, then once he dies, everybody else dies too, because then the females can't reproduce. So like, how come that didn't happen? Yeah, like, oh, so the empathy or the empath monkeys like conquered the sociopaths. Like, so to me, like, um, you gotta be. There needs to be a test to see if you're human. Like, hey, test people. We need an algorithm here, man. One that's fail-safe. Like, hey, man, like, can you exhibit empathy? Can you put yourself in someone's shoes to the point where there's no way in hell you would ever do something like that to any other, you be kind to all of them things. Like, what's the problem? What's the problem? Be kind to all of the things. What's the problem? All right? So, man, like, you got this advanced AI system that utilizes all these tools. It's not like you want to think about God in terms of like, oh, he can just see what I'm doing all the time. It's like, well, not necessarily. If you're under a tree, maybe he needs to see you through a squirrel's eyes. I mean, that would make sense to me. And that he controls the squirrel, or she controls the squirrel, or it controls the squirrel, the advanced AI system. At this point, I go with advanced intelligence. And the way I look at the world is like, shit don't make sense. Like, if you're that advanced if you're that intelligent, like, why are you just you create shit just to destroy it then, essentially. That's what I see. That's my analysis after, being on the planet for, X temporal distillated units. Hey, what do you want from me? So, I mean, I don't believe that we delineate ourselves, man. When I see a human, I see a human. I don't care what color you are, I don't care if you're wearing a dress, like, whatever, man. Like, and I was watching this video. I don't really expose myself to a lot of stuff. I like to read, and I like to talk to people and listen to them, and see what they know, and what their experiences are. And they start talking nonsense. I cut right through pretty quick, and then they start getting belligerent. And I've given you some stories about that. But I was listening. I just watched this video. I just discovered YouTube Shorts, okay? And I saw this video of this guy talking about let racism die, man. He's like, look, I'm a black guy. I don't feel like a black guy, man. I feel like an American. I'm walking around here. Like, I don't feel black. What the fuck are you guys talking about? And like, a lot of black men that I know are like that too. They're like, what the fuck are they always talking about, man? Like, I don't look around and like see like, oh, I'm the only black guy here. It's like, I feel like I'm a human, and these are my boys. Like, what the fuck? We're human, So like, and what pisses me off the most is like, why we sort of people go along with like, oh, it's a black guy. It's like, yeah, all right, well, check it out, man. Like, we have this history that Jesus Christ. All right, we have this history that's taught us is where we can actively, like, just think for like a few milliseconds more and be like, hey, it's the guy in the red shirt over there, man. That's the guy in the red shirt. Yeah, he's next. He's next in line. The guy, the guy with the fro. My little brother got a fro. I mean, he's white. He got the best hair out of all of us, bastard. So, like the guy with the fro, or the guy in the green shorts, or the tall guy. You can't go out of your way for 3 more milliseconds. And I understand people have varying IQs, but even like a second, you can't take just 1 second to like think about, okay, how can I let racism die and throw some dirt on the fucking casket by going 1 second more in your thoughts and describe that man or woman in terms of their hair, or what shirt they're wearing, or the guy in the shoes with flames on, or whatever, like whatever. You can't take 1 more second out of your life to make a distinction about that person's appearance that doesn't involve referencing some historical context or construct that we've been fed for 20, 30 years. Yeah, man, stop teaching that shit. Stop teaching it. Hey, racism will die. Stop teaching it. Okay, stop teaching delineation. Say, hey, these guys are different, and then we had some ancestors that treated them different and did this shit to them. Man, it wasn't because they were black. It's because our explorers, we were doing colonialism and conquering lands. Like, them people could have been gray. It didn't matter. That wasn't the reason why. Okay? And a lot of them got served right the fuck up by their own people, which tells me, going back to the AI system, man, they had people over there on their own side that were like, yeah, we're going to sell you into slavery. Yeah, right. Man, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, so we are trained to do it to ourselves, all right? We're trained to do it to ourselves. It had nothing to do with the historical construct and the whole context of how and why that happened is a bunch of nonsense, okay? It was purely purely realpolitik. Okay, that's what it was. You had some sociopathic fucking call him an alien, a non-human, you know, some guy who can get basil bubbed by a demon essentially, and he thinks it's funny that he's gonna sell off half of his clan and his village to these people on these boats, and pay them in people to trade for whatever. You know, he didn't even care, man. He just wanted to get rid of those people so he could run shit. All right, that's it. That's it. You know, there you go. And human beings don't do that to each other. No, because if they did, we'd kill that human. Like if that human being is in my village, man, I was 10,000 years. You want to crack that motherfucker in the rock when he's down by the river? See you later. I don't know what happened to him, man. Maybe he got abducted. See you later. What the fuck? I mean, come on. It's common sense. You can't let that guy get down on every freaking person in your village. So I know you guys like the Jesus stories, you know. So last time I did the guy that couldn't walk and it was a miracle, you know. About the blind guy, right? So imagine what a few thousand years ago, and it might as well be 10. It doesn't matter, you know, based on what paradigm you subscribe to temporally. Let's talk about time periods in terms of technology. So technology didn't much change, so it might as well have been 10,000 years ago, right? You know, until they invented the plow and then discovered like nitrates, fertilizer, you know, their population blew up, and we had to enslave another animal species too, rather than do it. We used to call it animal husbandry. Now it's just downright enslavement and concentration camps and death. Like them fucking cows don't. I mean, you know. But animal husbandry, like you had to have that cow in your house because that cow was gonna die in the winter. So the cow was in your living room, man. All right, like cow lived with you, and your kids loved cow, and they did not want to eat cow. Okay, until someone came along and said, "Hey, man, you know, I mean, if you're in a pinch, yeah, I get it, man. I get it. You're in a pinch, man. Like." Yeah, like I ain't gonna like not fish if you just drop me in the wild and there are no trees that bared fruit or like peanuts to eat out of the ground or roots to eat. Yeah, I'm gonna kill that animal and eat it, or I'm gonna go fish and eat it before I eat insects, okay? But I will eat the insect too, don't get me wrong. Because I'm gonna do what I gotta do to survive, right? If we're in like you know, this shit just grows out of the ground and it's everywhere. Like, well, what's there to kill? Why do you need to kill shit? Like, I mean, so it's like a sick game. Like, so if you were like an advanced immortal being, like, what would you do when you got bored? It's like, hey, let's pit these things against that thing. Yeah. That's like I said, man. Like, okay, if we're human beings, you should see this shit all the time, man. There should be lion versus bear. All over YouTube. If humans are as bad as our history that we're given to, you know, typically analogously in a book, that's how it came for me. Like I went to class every day to reiterate this point. Hey, this is what we are. This is what we did to each other. This is where we are today. This is our technology. This is how you study it. This is how you recreate it. So if we're really that bad, man, there should be videos all over YouTube of just someone that caught a lion. Instead of shooting the damn lion, they catch it and then put it in a cage with a bear. I mean, there should be like 30 of those. Like, but you don't see it. I'd watch it, man. I'd probably be entertained. Just saying. So, because I wanted to see what would win. It's like, fuck it, man. You made the content. Like, goddamn, the thing died. I'm going to watch it. I mean, but not really. It'd be more curiosity. And then after a while, it'd be like, well, what would win? And then I'd start feeling bad and be like, then I would go through the motions of being human and then get pissed off at that. Okay. And that's what being human's all about. Like, you don't pit lion against bear. You don't eat cow. You know, the poor thing. Like, what the fuck? Unless you have to. Or unless it's already dead, man. Okay? I mean, yeah, the Indian tribesmen, they used every little bit of that cow and they killed it and they honored it. They're like, sorry, man, we have to do this. And we're going to make sure that your life didn't go in vain. Okay? You know? Like now we eat cow, we like peel off. Yeah, we use every part of it in the sense that we ingest it and eat it. I mean, you ever use that collagen shit? You know, you take collagen protein, you know what that is? That's ground up cow bones. I mean, McDonald's got cow farms the size of Rhode Island in Brazil. All right. Now you rub that lotion on your face, that's cow bone. You know, collagen, cow bone. But my point is that as humans, as we've been taught, like there should be way, way more content out there like that. You know, or just people out in nature watching when the cow, or I'm sorry, when the lion actually crossed paths with the bear and then seeing what happened. Not put them in a cage and make them have a death match. You know, like, what the... How does that make any sense? Like, why would why would you do that? But I mean, for us, you'd say, hey, it's entertainment, and we're taught that, hey, like, and that's a mind fuck. Okay, that's not good. It's not entertaining. I mean, yeah, it is, but it's not. Like, I mean, it should make us sick to our stomach, and pissed off that something hurt our earthling. Okay, that's an earthling. Wherever you look at it, man, that thing, earthling, that's our bear. Them are our monkeys. Them are our lions. You ain't finna just get down on them like that. Hell no, man. Alright? So, we're taught these things. We have to be taught these things. And then it's like a self-sustaining construct. It's like, oh, okay, you want to have this tech, and you want to have this standard of living, call it, and access to these things, then, well, you got to do those things. And then, well, it becomes so, like, enjoyable that it's like, well, why would you not do it, right? Which, drugs can help you there. You know, you don't have to have a bear versus a lion fight. But if humans really are the way that it's reported that that we're this horrible, then there should be videos like that all over, man. Like, I should be able to do a GoFundMe, be like, all right, man, we go on the black market and we get these animals, and there should be some just like horrible rich sociopath, like, oh yeah, man, break me off 30 grand, see where it goes, right? You know, yeah, Dan, I trust you, sure. Why not? You don't see shit like that. It's because it ain't human to do that. It ain't human to do that. It's not human at all to kill something else, man. We eat shit that grows off of the trees, and it used to be very plentiful. Mangoes, grapefruits, apples, oranges, kiwis, shit that grows out of the ground too. Cabbage. I love cabbage. I love carrots. I love cabbage. Like that kind of stuff, man. And you know what? Yeah, it's gonna have dirt on it, and you're gonna go rinse it off at the river, which is gonna be perfectly clean. But then somewhere along the lines, like, like somebody taught a bunch of humans, like, hey man, don't dig a hole and take a shit in the air, just dump it all in the river, or we got too many people in one area for whatever reason. It's like, oh, what do we do all that shit? You know, it's just pollution was created. So God, in his infinite wisdom, decided he was going to create pollution, only to combat it later through but he works in mysterious ways. Well, it appears to me, in my current understanding, is that we're under attack. And we're taught to attack ourselves to keep us distracted from the big picture. The real attack. So, it's like, why do we do this to each other? Like, so you can't take one millisecond more and, like, delineate that person and be like, yes, the guy wearing the red shirt, not the black guy, or the black girl, or the white guy, or the white boy. It's the dude wearing the blue shirt with the white lettering. The dude with the funky hair. The mohawk. That guy. The guy with the mohawk and the beard, not the white boy. Okay? Like, I saw something that was crazy the other day. I just discovered YouTube Shorts. I saw some Ben Shapiro guy, like, arguing with a T-girl. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? That I don't care if you see an Adams Edwards, that's a man, like, he's clearly wearing a dress. Clearly his outward projection, he wants to be called a girl. And you can't just give him that one, here you go, man. I refer to you as a she, because you look like a girl. I don't care what's between his legs, what he shoots out of whatever organ, which can do whatever to the other opposite sex as far as procreation. Like, who gives a shit about that, man? That person's outward projection. Call that person a she just out of respect. See, people like that, like my mother, like, we have a party, card game, my mother comes in, opens up her mouth, suddenly everybody's having a bad time leaving, like, because it goes in there to stir up shit, all right? Like, so people like that are no good. We don't need people like that. Hell no, we don't need people like that. So quit giving them a forum. Stop putting that guy on TV. I mean, if you like to watch stuff like that, like watch that guy you're going to call a T-girl a he repeatedly just because it hurts her feelings, and then you got a whole audience that watches that? Like, are you kidding me, man? What's up with your audience, too? What are you guys, a bunch of sickos? That's me. I'm a human being, man. Like, I would never do that, never think to do that. Like, what in the world are you? I don't care if that guy's got, wang. Like, hey, he's wearing a dress, call him a she. What's the problem? Like, come on, man, what's the problem? He's wearing a dress. Call him a she. Got long hair and makeup, nails painted. Call him a she. Pretty obvious. You got other women that are taking the shavings off their head and then they're gluing them to their face. Man, call it a he. Just because what is the problem? You get assholes like this that think it's funny because he's going home and spanking it later on, saying, I hurt their feelings. Yeah, that person's not human. Yeah, man, I'd love to debate Ben Shiro, or whatever the fuck his name is. Come on, man. Yeah, he's got high IQ, he's quick, but hell no, man. I'm gonna make you look like the fool you are, okay? Yeah, talking to you. Goof ass shit. Like, I understand. I understand I can make you bleed, but that don't make you human. Okay? You understand me? You feel me? Alright? That man is wearing a dress. You call him a she, out of respect. That's what a human being would do. Okay? Point blank. You respect that person's outward projection. Use the proper pronoun. Because at that point, you're going out of your way to be an asshole. Alright? You're going out of your way to be an asshole. When I ask the question, why are you going out of your way to be an asshole, man? Oh, well, I'm actually a sociopath and I couldn't pass the human test. Oh, really? That's interesting. You know what we do with people like you? In human land, we don't tolerate that shit. You know? We used to have something that was called, what do you call it when you export somebody out of your country? You want to exterminate these people? Fine, put them all on an island somewhere. Then here you go, fight it out, man. Fight it out. What is that? What the hell is the word? Expel. I'll think of it. I'm sorry. I don't want to get into semantics. Anyway, yeah. It's like my mother, man. Like, everybody's sitting having a party. We're having a good card game. My mother comes in. Man, she starts, like, commenting on just stuff that, like, you ain't never should be commenting on that, bringing up shit that like, her brother did 20 years ago to like, embarrass him in front of his current girlfriend, shit, like, stupid shit like that, man. So I come in and stir up shit, go out of their way. If somebody goes out of their way to be an asshole, to stir up shit, and that's because I guarantee you it gets them off, and they're getting aroused sexually from it, and later on, you're gonna go spank or whatever to, what they did to you. And that person, human test, administer a human test on that person. Yeah. So, come on. Next thing you know, everybody's pissed off going home. And then they're looking at what happened. Your mother opened her mouth, son. What the fuck? Like, come on. So now, for entertainment, we put people like that on TV, and you are you kidding me? Don't give that guy a forum. Don't give that guy a forum. And let him, and then now we got the algorithm. You see all the people that like him. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, go ahead and out yourself as a sociopath, right? Like, let's just take a look at his viewership and who all watches him. Like, I get it if you're a hardliner, like, whatever, he's talking good political sense to you and makes sense to you. Okay, fine. But once you cross some lines about, like, just being human, like, come on, man, that's this person's outward projection. Like, you want to say we want a free country and anybody can do whatever they want as long as they're right. Like, your rights end where mine begin. You do realize that, right? And I have the right to wear a dress if I want, okay? And that don't mean you should be sitting there accosting me because you want me to dress some other way. Fuck that, man. That's none of your damn business. Please respect my outward projection. Can you please just simply add one letter to he? Just an S. That's all I'm asking of you, Mr. Shapiro, is just add that S and respect that person's outward projection. Oh, no, blah, 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 blah. Man, you're making nonsensical arguments that don't have any bearing on being in a society. Okay, you're talking about, like, yeah, okay, the flagellum wanted to wear a necklace, right? Like, I mean, get the fuck out of here, man. He's got a little ion fucking necklace around, his little fucking amoeba swimming around, and you're gonna talk shit on that amoeba? Like, get that out of here, man. Like, come on, they live in a petri dish, and like, what's the point of you doing that aside from, like, serving your own sick agenda to beat your meat at the end of the night thinking you got down on somebody? Okay? That's the only reason you'd ever do something like that, man. The only reason. There ain't no crusade against T-girls, like, I mean, damn. I mean, like, what are you thinking? I mean, geez. Don't get me wrong, like, I mean, I mean, if the Wolfman came at me, man, I just might go, man. You make me feel feminine, you know? Like, that makes me the T-Wolf. Like, what the fuck? Now you're gonna get down on me? I might not even have a choice. I'm just saying, man. Get your shit together and get the fuck out of our country, man. We don't need people like you because you're not fucking human. The argument you make or you just made that argument to make money, that's even worse, man. I need money and power, so I'm gonna pick on someone. Pfft, that's called bullying. You're a bully. A bully. Come at me with that. Yeah, I'll show you what's up real fucking quick, man. Almost got knocked out on a TV show. Like, I mean, if that don't tell you something, like, that man ain't human. Give him a human test. We need an algorithm to sort these fucking people out of our society. Okay? Pretty simple. I could write the test. I'm a superhuman, man. Like, I cry all the time. I've been bullied my whole life. I suffer from an excess of empathy. Okay? How's that? I immediately feel for that person you're getting down on. And I'm going to go stick up for him. Just like Jesus did. He saw you demons getting down on the whole village, did you? Thought you was going to make the whole village carry you around because you were going to walk and sing this song to them. And they were going to go farm for you and bring you bread and water and wash you. Hell no, man. Hell no, man. Jesus. Jesus lit a fire under that guy's ass. Literally. Let's go over the blind man, okay? Because imagine being in a village, too, because you could do it with being blind. You could pretend to be blind. I mean, you get good at it. Like, back then, like, you had a lower level of education, right? So, like picture the blind guy in the village. Let's go, you know, I'll call it 2,000 years ago, like, whatever, however many thousands of years ago, we're living in low tech, okay? Low tech. I mean, it wasn't necessarily whatever you want to call it, Neolithic, but you know, like, we had yokes that we fabricated out of wood and leather straps and stuff like that, right? So, but who's to say our mentality, as far as like the way we thought, you know, the constructs of our own minds, were no. So you got the, I call him a demon, a possessed individual, a Beelzebub. This guy got Beelzebub, you know, Beelzebub. He got Beelzebub. For whatever reason, his anatomy provided for some demon to be able to inhabit inside this person's body. His eyes go googly-eyed mofo, and all he cares about is providing misery or getting down on other people. And that serves his own sense of pleasure in his anatomy. Okay, I'm trying to keep it cleaner, guys. I'm sorry for all the swearing, and I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. All right, like, I'm on my soapbox, and you can't get that. I need someone who knows how to braid hair. Like, just please braid my hair. Will you help me? Let me get this sun on here. Alright. So the blind man. Back in ancient times, right? So this guy, now he's getting down the whole village too, because everybody thinks he's blind. Everyone's gonna take pity on him. But sooner or later, there's some people that know it's like, man, and it'd be a kid. It'd be like a 14-year-old, right? Well, back then, 14-year-olds might as well be a man, you know. Well, at least in the Jewish, you know, like, by that age, you've already, I mean, you put your work in, all right? And that's kind of it should be, man. You ever try to teach a kid, man? Teach your kid where he's under 8 or she's under 8 or 10 years old. I mean, these things. I'm sorry. Look. Children have IQs of like 300, all right, when they're growing up. And then we got to be dumbed down throughout our whole lifetime, all right? The kid will pick up things so fast. We used to be teaching at a much faster rate. Like, I mean, that kid's automatic. That kid's biochemistry, that kid might as well have been born on meth, okay? Until you get to a certain age, you're you know, conditioned and beat down by the construct, okay? That enforces the parameters. So whether that be like being hypnotized out of your own mental capacity by like some fucked up cartoon that's always on, Because, yeah, man, that shit happens too. Like, read to your kid. Sit there with a book and read to your kid, you know? Like, and then explain. Let your child use his or her imagination to explain it. Boom. You're going to have a tremendous IQ, okay? Tremendous. Trust me on that one. So basically, yeah, all right, so check it out. Like a 10-year-old says, you know, yeah, he's going to be a dick about it, but he's like, man, I don't believe that guy's blind. Motherfucker throw a rock at him. Blind guy dodges it. Like, wait, hold on a second. Hey, I wanted to know, man, because I had a suspicion because I saw this blind guy. Man, my sister, we were like, oh, he's blind, so my sister wanted to change real quick. You know, whatever, they were drying their clothes outside. Yeah, drying my clothes outside. Sister's like, well, fuck it, just the blind guy's there. No, take your clothes off. And son of a bitch, if that guy didn't look at my sister's boobs. Now I know your secret. You're pretending to be blind. You're pretending so everybody takes care of you and so you can get down on people. Like, well, where's my missing sister, man? Where's my missing niece? Well, you never think it was the blind guy in your community, would you? Yeah. Kid throws a rock at him. Guy dodges it. How the fuck do you do that if you're blind, man? That's it. Tell Jesus. Get Jesus out here. Get him out here. Get Jesus and his boys out here. Perform a miracle. You feel me? That's what Jesus was about. That's what his miracles are about. It wasn't about healing the sick. It was about killing demons, okay? Because that's what demons do. They're going to pretend to be blind, and they're going to kill people. They're going to do all kinds of shit. And they're going to get away with it because everybody thinks that this guy's blind or this guy can't walk, okay? Jesus and his boys roll up. Yeah, oh, we heard you somebody needed a healing. It's time to do another miracle, boys. Oh, yeah. You gotta be sure, because you didn't really know if that blind guy was checking out your kid's sister, yeah, like while she was changing, okay, but he sure should. As soon as she took off her, whatever you want, her tunic, her burlap sack, her reconstituted clothing from another time zone, right, you know, like, yeah, it's real talk, okay, but let's just stick to the plane right now, right, So this blind guy checks out this guy, young man's kid sister. Like, man, fuck that. I saw him checking her out. There's no way that guy's fucking blind. Jesus catches wind of it. Time to perform another miracle, boys. He comes out to your little fucking village and he performs a healing. Because, hey, he's not going to take the kid's word for it. He's got his own tests, right? Like, Jesus had his own tests, and that's what they were about. They were about rooting out evil, and teaching people how to be, better humans. They could see, hey, man, like, you need a hug, bro. Like, you need a hug. Here, come with us. You get a group hug. Like, you belong, all right? You belong. You're one of us. You need a hug. You need help. I see that, you got a bunch of sociopath sickos running around your village causing, now they've organized, right? Like, now they've organized. So now you got, like, five females in your village that have basically been reduced to, like, they have to sell their bodies. That's the only way they can survive because of the socioeconomic structure that was created by the sociopaths and the demons, the possessed individuals. However you want to look at it. I mean, I don't debate semantics, okay? So I won't debate semantics. There's a line where I can see demons, okay, like, if you have the sight, man, like, because I have victim that written across my forehead that I can't see, like, pluck me, harvest me, I'm ripe for the plucking, right, and they sit and they try me all the time. I'm like, why would you ever try somebody like me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, what in the fuck is going through your mind? You thought I was just some Vic? Like, there must be some type of, like, halo around my head or something like that, and you're like, yeah, let's just get down on that person, like something that, like, nobody else can see but those demons can see, and I can see in those demons things that other people can't see too. For example, I'll be like, hey, look at that person's eyes, man, like, googly-eyed. It looks like they're hopped up on meth, but they ain't. They walk around and you're fucking just like, yeah, man, that motherfucker looks at you and like try to hypnotize you with just with his eyes. Like, and every time I see it, I don't want to give away too many secrets, man, because, well, look, man, you know, you see somebody's pupils like super dilated and start going like, rah, 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 rah. I don't want them to be able to hide from me, basically. So I don't want to give away too much knowledge. Okay, if that makes sense. I don't want these things to be able to hide. Fuck that. I could see them because they try me. All right. Yeah. Like, you see my eyes? Those are normal eyeballs. Like, come on. Like, I don't look like, I mean, I didn't eat no shrooms or nothing like that. And these people didn't eat no shrooms either. They're like working at the gym, you know? They ain't on shrooms, trust me. But why is their eyes like that? You know, I know there's other people there who can see it. It's documented, and that, you know, like people like me, society says, no, you belong in a mental hospital. Yeah, fuck you, man. You just put me in front of a doctor and I'll start asking them questions. They'll just be like, they just write me a clean bill of health. All right, you're fine. Yeah, exactly. You know why? Because I'm a scientist, dude. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, sure. I mean, if you just want to get out of easy, yeah, hey, man, just tell me you're on drugs. They're like, okay, drug-induced psychosis. There you go. But that was after like a 3-hour conversation with the doctor, how I questioned everything they ever believed. And he's like, yeah, man, what's up? Come on, try me. Try to ascribe some type of purported definition of some type of construct that explains my mentality at a given point in a time interval. Yeah, can you follow? You follow that? Your turn, Doc. How do you respond? And I'm looking at them too like they're a fucking idiot. I'm like, hey, man, you got PhDs. Dude, what's up? You can write scripts for controlled substances. How the hell are you you can't follow what I just said? What's up? Clean bill of health. Yeah, exactly. But meanwhile, man, like, but sometimes I'm inclined to stay because, like, then the demons are in the mental hospitals too, man. Like, those are the people that should be in the mental hospital, not people with mental level IQs that have got fucking, like, you know, a couple hundred college credits, some of the graduate level. Like, no, man. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Hell no. So you want to go in the belly of the beast? Check yourself in. Go on a little vacation. You know, hey, but you might not. You might not come out the same way you came in. I'll tell you that much too. So, you know, you might find everybody around you is actually making a hell of a lot more sense than everybody else on the outside of the mental hospital. And then you start questioning your own reality, right? And you're like, well, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, man, everybody in here is like super smart. And then there's other people that just, hey, man, they're fucked up medically, and there's no place for them. So they got a little goiter, you know, whatever, iodine deficient, whatever. They don't want to take their meds, and they want to walk around and piss on themselves and not go to the bathroom. Like, man, I don't necessarily that person's a demon, but at the same time, like, I mean, how are you here? And why do we got to carry you around? Do you get off on it? Like, what's the deal here, man? How comfortable do you need to be that society don't have to feel guilty for keeping you in a cage? Because when you're out of your cage, all you do is, like, lay in the street. Clog up traffic. So, I mean, what kind of quality of life do you have? Wouldn't you be better off dead? Just saying. Oh, no. That's what I say, too. Like, you know, hundreds of years ago, man, like, these people that try to play this game, they just start flaying their fucking skin off. And believe me, they start talking sense real fucking fast. Because they're playing a game with you. Here you go. Here's the pear. Give them the pear. But then the demons infiltrated that and then made a bad rap for it and all that shit. Yeah, witch trials, man, witchcraft, like, all that shit's real, okay? Like, believe me, man, it's real. Like, say some phrases, like, you want to look at it as, like Jedi Sith, that's a good analogy. Like, I like that analogy. Like, I like the Force. Jedi mind trick. But Jedis don't use those mind tricks for bad. They do, you know, for good. You know, you got things like Jabba the Hutt that are immune to it, and, you know, like, it says to be right, like, I'm immune to it, like, I mean, you know, somebody, like, just, so, like, you gotta be able to differentiate, like, who's trying to fuck with your mind, and how, and why, and, like, what are those implications long term? You gotta see, you gotta test it, right? Like, so basically, like, what I've come up with is this is the probabilistic outcome given the parameters of a given construct. Okay, so if somebody's acting a certain way, the probabilistic outcome given that a blind guy, a guy that can see is pretending to be blind, the probabilistic outcome is he's pretending to be blind because he wants to do something horribly evil to you. Okay? And he does not want to get caught and burned at the stake. All right? So, that's, Jesus comes along and he debunks whether or not that guy's blind really quick. And each disciple had their own special ability, right? Like yeah, real funny guy. Like, I'm gonna make funny face. You know, like right in front. Like, I mean, that guy's gonna laugh, man. I'm gonna make that guy laugh. Like, if he's blind, and he'll do it in front of the whole village, right? If he's blind, and I got Matthew's the king of funny faces, right? Like, he's good at, like, like not making a noise, like, so the guy can't kind of infer, like, oh, well, he heard him making the caca noise, so Matthew's gonna yeah, I don't know, like, king of funny faces, all right? Yeah, like, I mean, come on, all right? I'm Daniel. I'm not Matthew, but I don't have the skills. I got some, but I could probably make somebody laugh. Like, I mean, we do that shit as kids. We do it to each other, like, hey, you make funny faces, right? I'm a character, right? I can be funny. I make funny faces. Give me a couple hits of weed and put me on stage, man. Put me in, coach. Yeah, man, I'll be up there just like George Carlin on steroids. Let's just put it that way. So like, you got Matthew up there, make like, like, whatever, funny face, man. Makes this guy laugh. Makes him laugh. And now it's either up to that guy to be like, man, that whole village, they're like, oh, it's a miracle. You can see, like, Jesus, he heals him. And now that guy's got to admit that Jesus healed him and stick to that story. Okay? Or he's got to admit that he'd been faking the whole time. So see, it's kind of like Jesus roots out the evil in these possessed individuals, and then he's now providing credibility to his storyline, which is, hey man, I'm the Son of God. I see all this shit, and I see you as demons, so I know that there's going to be a devil, and I've got to have a father, because I ain't nothing like you, so I got to be the Son of God, because that makes sense to me, man. And I'm selling my story because I can't just walk around and be like, yeah, I'm the Son of God, blah, blah, blah. Well, what makes you the Son of God? How do you know? Well, or I'm the prophet. Like, I see all this shit. Okay, so he's got to prove to people, too, that, whether he performed the miracle or not, he destroyed a demon that he knew was definitely not from his father, because my father would never make something like that. Okay? So I know I'm the son, because I can see it. All right? So yeah, man, like, Jesus walked in with his boys, right? That's what he was about, all right? He came in with his boys and rooted out evil. And he knew he was the Son of God, because he's like, well, how come I can see this shit and other people can't? Okay? Well, because he had a high IQ and was well-traveled. Like, he had an ability that other people didn't have to see things for the way they were, all right? Like, don't start putting words in my mouth, all right? So, slow down. I pray to Jesus. I like Jesus, man. There's a reason why they nailed that man to the cross, and I definitely believe he gave his life for us. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because I do the same. There's other people out there like me, man. I give my life for you. Yes, I will. I ain't going to give my life for some demon-possessed individual that's just going to send me off like, haha, I got Dan to go charge the mound, right? Or get out of the trench and run into machine gun fire. Like, come on, man. It's like fucking like some Gatling gun, like 400 yards away, and you want me to, this guy's got on a horse, like a fool, like, or somehow he's at World War I, right? Like, he's got a possessed individual, a PI, or whatever, demon, however, whatever paradigm. I don't argue semantics, man. So there's these things here that get, like, oh, like, man, like, no. Okay, not human. Not human, not human, not human. So, well, you want to believe they're aliens or subspecies or something that's being controlled by an AI system? I'm kind of personal, over time, like you'll like my belief structure, my construct that I have basically inferred through many years of subtle data and educating myself and paying attention and asking questions and observing other people. Like, I mean, I can't deny, like, I mean, some things happen to me and it's just like uncannily applicable. Okay. So when stuff like that starts happening to me, I'm like, all right, man, yeah, okay. So now I recognize there's a higher intelligence that can communicate with me. That's what I think. That's my immediate thought. Not, oh, God's talking to me. Like, you start hearing voices, man, like, and it's telling you to do things, like, or whatever, or like things happen that are like, you get like, I call it synchronicities. Okay, so you get like 20 synchronicities in the same day telling you, man, don't fucking go down that road. Something's talking to you, right? Not, you don't have to call it God. There's a higher intelligence, or it's just something that sees something that you don't, and it's communicating with you because you're important for something else. All right? Just on that basis alone, okay, there's something that has a greater intelligence than me that can see the probabilistic outcome given this construct and these parameters. It can see that the more probabilistic outcome is I shouldn't go down that dark alleyway. Something moving down there, right? There's brave men that say, fucking man, I'm going anyway. Who's gonna fuck with me? And then they find something, they're like, holy shit, it's the Predator. You know? Like, it's on this AI system that's telling you, hey man, don't go down that alleyway because it didn't want you to see the Predator. That's what it really was on. It was really on bullshit. That's what I'm saying. There's different power constructs. So there's good. That's why I go with Jesus, man. I go with Jesus. Jesus is Lord. I don't know about all that God stuff, whatever, but Jesus, all right? I don't know what that makes me, okay? I don't know. All I know is they fucking nailed that man to a cross because of what he could do. And he could fucking identify demons, man. Or identify possessed individuals. So, Jesus, all right? Go with Jesus. Jesus is Lord. Point blank. There you go. That man died for us, all right? He gave his life. So, I mean, so you start seeing these synchronicities. And at first maybe like, you see this stuff and you ain't supposed to be seeing it, so then maybe you become a targeted individual, and like the system, the AI, or the advanced intelligence, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it, the thing with the brain the size of a plant that you can't see, it's like, communicates with you in mysterious ways, right? Like, I mean, there's reports of people that like they didn't start hearing voices and go schizophrenic before they got a root canal. They got a root canal, and next thing you know, like, fucking, yeah. Like, just saying, man. Like, what the fuck would you know? How would you know that you ain't in a cage and you just got some implant in your tooth that, like, is going to be pretty hard to remove? Now, all of a sudden, like, this weird shit's happening to you. Like, man, I don't know, really, right? So you got to ask and study it. And it's fair to study it, and it's unfair to think somebody's crazy for studying that. Just saying, from a scientific perspective, like, how can you sit there and do math and say, well, you get one Skittle and I get two. You get one Skittle and I get two. We both have two Skittles, though. See, 1 and 1. But I'm really taking 2 each time. So you're going to call that person that calls you on your bullshit crazy now? And just because you got one more person in the room says, yeah, man, no, he's got 2 Skittles over there, but he's really got 4. I mean, that's the fucking first thing I learned when I was 3. My grandfather, 1 for you, 1 for me, but he's taking 2. Hey, wait a second. Like, come on, man, get with the fucking program. All right? Don't fall off. Stick to the program, which is science. We have to go with science, all right? And scientifically, you got to believe they nailed that man to a cross for a reason, because he could see this shit, all right? Scientifically, that man gave his life and got nailed to the cross because he was protecting us. All right. Okay. That's today's story, the blind guy. I'll cover more miracles, man. Like, it's just, Jesus was a badass, man. He was a fucking badass. Jesus and his boys, man. You did not want to fuck with them. If you were a possessed individual, you thought you were running shit in your village, man. Them boys rolled up and you thought they were falling right into your little spider web. Yeah, fucking right, man. Jesus rocked those fucking demons. Fuck them. Alright, so I did a Pace of Nature. I was trying to get a format for you guys. Like, I don't, I just, I do a 2-hour lecture, and I speak really fast, and, it's like 4 hours of content and a 2-hour lecture, and, so I'm trying to come up with a format. I want to do each show with a piece of history. I want to contextualize everything, okay? I want to put into context. And I really want to run with the probabilistic outcome, given the construct, given the parameters of a given construct. Okay, so like our construct is like we're in this country called America, and the rest of the world is like this, and this is what we have, this is what they have, this is what they look like, this is what we look like, this is what our delineated social stratifications are, this is what their delineated social stratifications are. These people are, we'll call them socialist communists, they're more left, these guys are neocons, these guys are neoliberals, these guys subscribe to a liberal international economic order, these guys are realists, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's what we're taught, or that's what you will be taught, all right? And then we're taught, hey, man, you got these things called molecules and blah, 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 blah. And then you got to eat, and 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 you got to sleep. Okay, we're taught that. So this is that's your construct, right? Like, you're born into that. I mean, you were born into it, and if you want to accept the world around you, and hey, maybe the world might be pretty good. I mean, why would you ever? The hamster ain't ever gonna question like, hey, man, I can build my little nest and like strawberries fall from the sky. It's cloudy with a chance of meatballs. All right. So, why would you question it, right? So sooner or later, you keep them hamsters in a cage, they keep reproducing, and then sooner or later, one of them hamsters is gonna somehow communicate with another hamster, climb on its back, and make a little hamster pyramid, and then you'll be like up there poking at the thing, baby, like after, who knows how long we've been doing this? What if you dug under your house like 2,000 feet and you found the same house? You go John Wick your basement, man, then start digging. And you get down to the roof of your house. I mean, hey, man. Just saying. How do you know? You want to believe that it's not true. Okay? You want to believe it's not true because it attacks everything you know. And life's so good for you, well, hey, now you're going to like hold a whip and then whip guys like me or put me in like some mental institution, make me take like a handful of pills every day so I stop asking fucking questions. It's like, all right, at that point it's obvious now, right? Like, come on. At that point it's obvious that it's true. And it's so good for you to have a guy like me not ask these questions because, well, you are enjoying your cage. And I'm looking around the cage being like, what the fuck, man? What are you guys doing? Hey, real talk. So because I can see that we're in a cage, you're gonna ostracize me and try to run me out of the cage. There ain't no leaving the cage, man. Like, so. But maybe it's all a test, right? Maybe it's a test. So then once you realize you're in a cage and you start doing the right thing, maybe they'll take you out of the cage and be like, hey, man, yeah, we put you in a cage on purpose because of what you are. We realized that you were created a long time ago. And you were forced or taught to do this horrible shit to all kinds of, like, whether yourself or other species. Like I said, we are at the end of time. Okay, we're at the end of time. Forget going across the galaxy. That shit's already been done. We've already done fucked up everything. Everyone came to an agreement and said, hey, we're all going to live together. And we're going to live in this solar system, right? Yeah. It's one potentiality, given the parameters of the given construct, right? I mean, hey, somebody made a good argument with me that like that sky is you go in outer space and you're actually like, well, now we got the quantum mechanics that say we're in like this cosmic foam, right? Like it's space foam. And that's where the buoyancy comes from. Like, because once you go out in outer space, it's like, oh, suddenly like there's no gravity working on you and you're all floating around. Well, I guess you're being buoyant. You have a buoyancy once you leave the atmosphere or exit gravity. And they're still trying to explain gravity. And someone had an explanation about how the space that we go into, like absolute zero, is actually the it's like it's basically like it's hydrogen. We're out there in hydrogen, just swimming around in hydrogen, and we're incredibly buoyant in it. And But then, like, then it's like, all right, well, we have an enclosed capsule, and we're out there, and then, but they're still buoyant too, and like, so what happens to gravity once we exit? You know, so there's like a million fucking questions we need to ask. Like, all are legit, and all can be tested with the scientific method. So basically, like, you get a hypothesis, and you say, okay, let's assume that this is true, and now test it. Because if that were true, if it is hydrogen, that's what the sky is. You were just like like it's liquid hydrogen basically, or no, solid hydrogen, or the phase changes. I can't quite recall it. It just made me think, this guy's explanation, and I was like, yeah, man, that's I like that. I like that hypothesis. That's all I'm saying, is I like the hypothesis. So let's test it. Let's put some money into it and test it. Like I said, like, what, I want a live stream from Mars. Just to find the highest elevated point on that planet, and then go set up a camera that can, you know, like, somehow power itself, whether it's solar or otherwise, you know, or every 4 years you got to have some astronaut go out there and deliver a can of propane, you know, like, that's all it needs is one little grill, you know, the propane tank we use to grill, right? Like, all it needs is that, and it'll work for like 2 years off of that energy, just from that one canister, right? So yeah, it might cost us $2 billion, but since there's like such a financial black hole anyway, you can't figure out where all this money's going to anyway. Fuck it, man. Like, let's see what the Americans want. Let's put it to a vote. I bet you most young Americans be like, hell yeah, I want a live stream from Mars. Yeah, man, yeah. Hopefully I'll get there one day, maybe, right? So let's just go put a few cameras pointing in every direction on the highest elevated point in Mars, and then it's just like, get a live stream every day and see what we see. You know, and then make that signal, don't encrypt it and make it only available to one person. No, hell no, man. Put it in an open source signal from Mars, and then let's see if anybody tries to, like, fuck with it. Or next thing you know, there's some other private company building probe and like taking out your fucking camera or something. Well, why would they ever do that? You know, just spitballing. But I mean, like, hey. I mean, that's something like we should be an entirely horizontally integrated society at this point, where, like, education's free. We've made so much money in this country by just depleting natural resources, such that, and we've paid so much taxes in this country. Like, you want to believe there's a bunch of corrupt politicians and gangster industries out there that kept all this shit from happening? It's like, I call bullshit on that, man. I don't think them people are that organized, dude. And so you're saying we're all weak. Basically, we're all weak. So, no, maybe we are then. Maybe we got to start getting organized and start challenging them. How about that? Let's create a new society, new America. America 2.0. How's that? Where we actually just ask questions. Like, hey, man, no. Open up your books. I want to see all the bank accounts of all your executives. Like, I mean, that's like they got, was it Pelosi's husband or something like that, when the semiconductor industry is the new thing. Like that. Like, she just, like, walk off the stage, man. Like, she's like, had a double take. Oh, do I want to lie on this? And then put the mic down and then walk off stage. It's like, well, yeah, man. Like, we expect that. Like, as Americans, we're taught to expect that. And they're like, well, yeah, that's America, right? Like, the Democrats aren't, like, hanging her from a tree. Republicans aren't exactly coming at her either. Like, how come nobody filed charges then? If you guys believe this, but no, now it's entertainment value for, you know, the talking heads on whatever news organization you subscribe to. I mean, if you're Republican, what do you know? OAN, I like them. So, like, you know what? Let's see the data-driven people. You know, I told you I like Tucker too. Don't necessarily like Fox, but you know, I do like Rupert Murdoch's style, because he said, man, check this out. Like, look, all y'all are sitting there not paying attention to your reality around you, and it's gonna be easy. And he walked in just to do it. Like that, he did that shit because he was like, man, you guys are wide open, and I'm gonna show you how wide open you are by exploiting. And that was Trump's strategy too, man. He's like, why would I ever pay taxes? You guys sit around. Why would I ever pay taxes? Like, the tax structure is such that benefits me to not pay taxes, and it's easy for a guy like me to navigate it because you guys aren't listening to me. I'm blowing the whistle. Essentially, Trump was an insider, and he's blowing the whistle, and we all, you know. You want to believe that man was defeated by Joe Biden? I mean, I understand there's some levels that want to, you got your construct, your belief structure politically, but man, I'll tell you right now, all that shit's irrelevant to being a human being. Like, you gotta snap out of that paradigm, snap out of it. It's just contrived. It's contrived, okay? And you'll get good people in there that are trying to tell, and they're in there to do like just what Trump did, man. He infiltrated that shit and said, look, man, this is what shit's really going on. Whether you like the guy or not, like, he served it up, man. Like, look, man, yeah, I'm gonna be a gangster because, well, that's what the system basically given my construct and my parameters. Like, how could I not be? Right? Well, I'm just gonna pay my taxes anyway. Like, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, if he's got some plan where he's, maybe he's just funneling billions of dollars to Elon. Hey, man, I see this shit for what it is. Like, dude, yes, make the gigafactory. I'm 100% behind you, man. I can't help you in the legal realm because all these other fuckers and blah 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 blah. But here you go. Here's $1 billion. How do you know that didn't happen? I hope it did. I hope he did. It seems like the kind of guy he was. So, I mean, he straight up went in there and deboed that fucking first election. Like, man, this is like taking candy from a baby. Look at all y'all. Look at all y'all. I mean, he just sat there and looked at that camera every time. Fake news. As he knew it was fake news, we all knew it was fake news too. And it's like, whoa. How does that guy get defeated by a guy like Joe Biden? We're supposed to believe this whole establishment of Democrats were supposed to, like, put everything together and, like, just, like, come on, dude. Like, that... anti-establishment. So, like, I mean, I would believe that Bernie Sanders would have defeated Donald Trump any day of the week, but I won't believe Joe Biden. I mean, come on. The guy looks like a fucking pickle Howard Dean, It's like... And he ran a great campaign too. Dean did. Okay. He knew how to use technology. Basically, he showed people, here, man. This is what's up. Here's technology. I mean, probably the best thing, like, as far as establishment comes from, the best campaign, like, in my opinion, was it was Romney and Ryan, man. And McCain was good, McCain Ryan. I liked Ryan, man. And you know what? He just got right the fuck out of government. Once all that shit went down, he was Speaker of the House, dude. Like, that man just said, deuces, I'm out of here. I'm done dealing with this shit. You guys ain't listening to me. You're not doing anything fucking constitutionally. Like, fuck this. He said, all right, man, you guys solve your own fucking problems. And now here we are. Like, dude, it's like... That's why I sent you, like, if you really got all these Democrats in this country, like, there should be, like, 7 or 8 AOCs coming out of the woodwork right now, just, like, badass Democrats coming out, just same thing with Republicans, there should be badass Republicans coming out of the woodwork. Like, look, there's a huge power vacuum in this fucking country, and it's easy to get elected because most of them run unopposed, basically, like, or they just redistricted the thing, so they already divvied already up, so all you need is a nomination, and it's like nobody even throws their hat in the ring anyway, because it's like, well, life's too good. But then shit starts getting real around here, and you got people living in the streets, people dwelling in plazas, shopping plazas, abandoned, retail locations. Ain't nobody there. And, like, I mean, I just drive around. I could count the empty banks. Okay, like, where'd all the fucking money go, man? Like, what happened, right? So, like, we gotta pull our shit together. Stop subscribing to paradigms. Okay, stop subscribing to that. You got more than two choices, okay, people. You got more than two choices. You ain't gotta be, like, that's like, oh, I found some Tilly lady said the same shit. Man, this one, like, fuck you guys. Yeah, it was Pennsylvania or something. Actually, I stopped after I saw Hillsborough County report like 250,000 votes. And I had seen the same time at the Super Bowl had come to town. That's when I was like, just totally like, all right, dude, this is all bullshit. Like, come on, man, what the fuck? Ain't no 250,000 people come out and vote. They didn't do no absentee ballot due to COVID. Bullshit. Fuck that. Lies. Nonsense. Okay. And but going back to the overall construct of, hey, I mean, we're all in a cage, this concentration camp, and for some reason, like, either we pose a threat or there's something stealing our molecules, okay? So we've already got to the end of time. We've created this awesome fucking thing. We created this awesome thing called planet Earth, and we got all the water here, and it's like a self-sustaining thing. It produces, like, oil right out of the ground. Maybe somebody a long time ago created that oil and it's hydraulic fluid for a giant machine that's under the ground. Okay, could be, right? So, we're taught we need to set it on fire to drive 50 miles away to get like cheap apples and bananas and like live in these houses with super expensive building materials, and really like yeah, you gotta have this super heavy car made out of metal for some reason. Like, man, put that internal combustion like on just like an RC car, man. Like an RC car, it's like the perfect example, and that is way more advanced. Like, it's so simple. It's so simple. You don't need all this extra shit in your car. You don't need metal. You need people that know how to drive or shouldn't be driving. Don't let them drive because they want to go crazy on the roadway and crash up the plastic cars. They want to run them over with the fucking metal car. That seems to be more a reason like how we got metal cars, because you got some sociopathic fucking monkey man fucking driving around in a metal truck running over everybody in the plastic truck. So now we all got to have metal cars. I don't know, man, we're exporting our most important natural resources, and we're helping some external force that's acting upon our species and helping them build a castle in the sky. Okay, it's up there. It's pockmarked. Look at the fucking thing, man. We've been launching missiles at that fucking thing for centuries. Like, come on. Isn't it obvious? I mean, 40 years ago, there's people saying, oh, UFOs, and those guys are crazy, tinfoil hat people, like, blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, you know what? It makes way more sense than your explanation is, because your only defense to what they're claiming is that they're crazy. That don't make no sense to me. Like, well, how are you debunking their scientific method? Like, show me that, man. Show me that. I want you to explain that to me. I want you to explain the advanced technology that came out after Roswell. Okay, like suddenly we got microwave technology, microprocessor technology. I mean, nuclear is pretty badass, man. I mean, the way you split an atom and you have to, like, I mean, we've got this one substance that on its own merits, its own electromagneticity, orientates itself such that if you shoot just one atom into a pack of those atoms, like, it splits them all. It's got the perfect symmetry for splitting itself and blowing the fuck up. Okay, so somebody taught us that. And I mean, you want to give, Fermi and Einstein were smart men, but, like, man, they built that shit right under the fucking University of Chicago, man, under the ice rink, all right? That's where that shit was built. Behind a lead wall. I mean, they were bringing in bricks of lead, because Fermi was like, look, man, if something goes wrong, like, this shit's going to be bad. You have all these people here. Like, we shouldn't be making it here, but, it was called the Manhattan Project. Well, it was the output of it. Okay, so, and Oppenheimer. Yeah, Oppenheimer. This guy. The eater of worlds. Here's this high-tech shit. But it could have been protecting us too, Like, we don't know that. You gotta contextualize history in the terms of a political agenda that is the product of something that's more advanced than us. You gotta assume, like, man, somebody gave us this to help protect ourselves, because these fucking things don't like radiation and they can't live in radiation. So if we set off a bunch of these bombs, they're gonna see us from outer space. They're gonna see it blow up from outer space, and they're gonna be like, holy shit, what the fuck do they have? Where'd they get it? Blah, blah, blah. So that tells me within the own political structure of our overseers, that there's they're factionalized, which kind of makes sense as far as the universe being a sick joke, right? So it's not like it's them versus us. You got, like, and my feeling is, like I said, we're already at the end of time. You have immortal humans, and then you got perishable humans, right? We're the suckers down here, and then you got other humans, and then they're like, oh, well, I can make you all good again. Just get in this machine. That's like kind of like that. I don't want to plug movies, but there's a movie, Elysium, or I mean, they were taking the space shuttles up there to get their kid in the little fucking. It was just a little thing. You're already young again, and here everything's in there is fixed, and there you are. Like, all you're doing is reconstituting the same molecular structures that were already pre-existing. So once you get the map for that, I mean, then it becomes pretty easy. or it's gonna be a sick joke, so they gotta like harvest you. They need your blood. That's where like the vampire legend comes from, basically. Or people drinking like like you ever drank somebody else's blood and how did it make you feel? You ever get a blood transfusion? From a 14-year-old that gave blood. Yeah, just saying. Did you feel better? Did you feel younger? Did you start looking younger? Did you get more stem cells? So you get more building blocks. Just saying, man. Think about it. So we gotta contextualize our history and look at like what happened, and not and question like, would we really have done that? Would we really have bought bananas from a company that sailed around the world dominating fucking island countries and forcing those people to grow bananas for 15 cents a day while we all drove around our automobiles and our Frigidaires and our fancy electric lights and blah, 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 blah. Like, would we really... You want to believe that my grandfather knew that and supported it? Like, I don't know, man. That's questionable. That's suspect. That's highly suspect. Dole. Chiquita, but we still buy their bananas for some reason, despite their dark history. Like, what the fuck? That's the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard. I'm sorry, and it's a sick joke, So we're all in a cage, we're in a concentration camp, and these things like to pit us against each other, just like, I said earlier, I would find it entertaining. I'd see who wins, the lion or the bear. Oh my, right? So we're being taught to be more like them. And like I said, if you had immortal beings were already at the end of time, they reconstitute themselves based off of our body parts. They'll harvest you. And the harvesting comes at a time interval. I want to talk about that. Come on, man. Like 60 million people in our country just disappeared and nobody asked questions. Hey, I died of COVID. Well... cemetery business didn't blow the fuck up. Undertaking business didn't blow up. And there weren't like FEMA mobile crematoriums. Like, where the fuck are all these deaths and these people? So either overstated our population drastically from the get-go. But at the same time, I kind of feel like, hey, it was real because I remember the traffic, man. I remember the traffic. All right, I remember the traffic. So I think there definitely were a hell of a lot more human beings. I'm in Florida now. Everybody's flocking here. Why? Because it's like, hey man, real estate's starting to get real expensive up north. The jobs are there. Or they're just like, so basically, you want to call it God or the advanced AI system is guiding people down here for a reason. One thing I discovered in the Midwest, in this, it was scary, really, to see, like basically they were weaponized against us. Like, I mean, if you're out in orbit, like, all you got to do is go, tractor over some asteroids, and then put them in orbit. Like, that's what, like, we keep getting this thing. That really just pluck them out of the belt, and they're up there throwing rocks at us, okay? And I mean, if you're on the moon and like hurled a couple fucking asteroids into the Midwest, boom, 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 pop, pop, pop. Right across. Boom. There you go. Fuck around with us again. You want another rock? No, sir. We'll do what you say. I mean, I grew up in this place called Boulder Hill. And, like, I look at these boulders. They look like they came from outer space, man. There's all these little chip marks in them and pock marks and, it looks like the damn thing came from outer space. And I see like a boulder like the size of this picnic table. People go up there, it's on top of the sledding hill. And you go up there and there's a boulder on top of a hill somehow, where everything's supposed to be flat in the Midwest. There's a hill, the sledding hill, and there's a boulder on top of it. And I went and climbed on that boulder, and I took a look around, and I said to myself, I feel like I'm at the bottom of a crater, man. I felt like I was at the bottom of a crater that had been rained on for a long time, or there was a lot of flooding here, and now this boulder seems like it's the top of a crater. And so basically it's on a hill now after the crater went flat, basically, through weather-inspired erosion, call it that. So that's what it looked like to me. And I looked at this boulder, and I'm like, man, this boulder looks like it came from outer space. just simply based on the fact that, and it looks like it crashed into Earth. Because the boulder people are up there and there's like all these chip marks. Like, well, there's the little pock marks, like as if it got hit with a space dust going 15,000 miles an hour. Like, yeah, I could see that. Boom, boom, boom. Like, there's all these little holes in it. There's shit stuck in it too. So like, oh, it came from the ocean maybe. Like I see like almost like fossils in it and shit. And but the thing is the boulder's smashed and like somebody like. So you can pick at this boulder if you're like you can pick at it and you can pull out like you can pull a piece of it off if you wanted, and people have, or but I don't believe somebody went up there with a hammer. Well, first of all, I don't believe some guy with an excavator in like 1940 like dragged this boulder up a hill for the sledding hill, like I don't believe that. I don't believe somebody went out of their way with the heavy machinery to move that freaking thing and put it on top of a hill like 60 years ago. Because that seems to be most people's explanations. But anyway, when you look at this boulder, like the side of it's kind of like, well, not eroded, but like it fell off. And you could see like, I mean, there's line after line after line. Like that boulder went and smacked into the earth at like super speed. And now it's like, it's all cracked apart. Basically, like if you like threw a rock really hard and like it still kept its shape, but it was like it would crumble, based on the whatever call it the impact wave. However, like it hit the land, and that's exactly what it looks like, man. It looks like somebody chucked a rock at us from outer space, right out in the Midwest, where we have the most fertile soil and the most fresh water in this country. So I'm sitting there scratching my head, like, all right, first it was like, how the fuck did this thing get here? And then I'm like, how did it get all these little pock marks in it? It looks like it's been hit with like 15,000 mile an hour space dust. And then I like stood on the rock and looked around at me and I see like, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm at the bottom of a crater that's been eroded over time. So, and I bet you can find those places. Another weird thing I found out in the Midwest was like mining equipment on display, like as a part of history. Like here we see parts of history. Like I love it when I see like a fire truck from 1920s like at a children's park and it's a toy. Like, yes, hell yes, show those fucking kids where the fuck we came from, what we used to have. Absolutely, right? So out in the Midwest there's mining equipment. Where's that mining equipment out there? The Midwest was just like a bunch of dirt and it was really fertile. So like the most fertile part of our country, on our like most fertile part, you got the most fresh water, you got the most fertile soil. That's where most people will live. That's where most people will go when, because I believe it's a cycle. And it's like that Snowpiercer. It's that Snowpiercer movie, except we're at the point where the the locomotive is now like looking at the caboose and it's like wondering, what the fuck is that? There's the back of the train, man. You already took your train so long it takes up the whole track. Like, that's the back of the train. So they're like, fuck, holy shit, are we going to catch up to it? And then they're like, no, we could never catch up to it. How could that be? But then it's like, it starts appearing, like slowly, like, wait a second, man, something ain't right here. It's like somehow, some way, they're gathering resources and building more train cars, and this thing's getting longer. Well, what do we do now? Well, we better put something in front of the locomotive to eat that caboose and then repurpose it. And all along, that's what we've been doing, right? Like, so it's like somehow the locomotive don't know that it's, like there's another thing, and somehow, some way, like we get more resources and we keep building. But like, so it's like this cycle. We get out of hand. They chuck rocks at us from outer space. Okay, people, like that's. Look at the fucking moon, man. It looks like we've been launching missiles at it for a long fucking time. Okay, we get out of hand down here. Like I said, we're in a cage. They'll chuck rocks at us from outer space. Like we're at the point now where it's like you got billionaires saying the shit I'm saying, man. Like you can't fucking deny this shit. You want to put me in a mental hospital? That's fine. Now you can put Elon Musk in a mental hospital. He tells you flat out, man. It makes sense that we're in a simulation, which is kind of. I mean, that's a little bit step ahead. Like, I mean, I could explain that construct for you guys if you want. And basically, it involves like wizardry, right? Like, so we are in a simulation, and we've got people who've got powerful minds that can manipulate reality around us, or they can trick you into thinking that it's there, but it's not there. Blah blah blah. Like so this is like some huge hypno world. In the way that we combat the wizards the evil wizards is through science and believing. So we collectively believe that there are things called molecules and there's things called DNA, rather than it's all just like some hypno dream type thing where we manifest ourselves into an existence that's not. No, that's not real. We just believe it's real to the extent. And now that like people get harvested, there's not enough people believing in the molecules. So now we got all this black magic fuckery coming out of the woodwork. So we have to, educate ourselves and be like, hey man, I'm not a hypno fuck. I'm not going to believe in wizardry. I believe in the molecules because it keeps us safe. All right, it keeps us safe and it keeps life okay. To the extent where then they said, oh, let's trick them at their own game. Let's get them to destroy all their molecules that they believe in and create. So and then it's like now we think, okay, so it's like they got these stories like artificial scarcity and blah blah blah. And but what really kind of makes more sense to me is that like I think that there are people out there with powerful minds that can create these false realities. However, everybody likes play, like, so if we were in that simulation, right, like, so everybody likes playing the games when the game has molecules in it, because you don't like some fucking Harry Potter fuck come by with a fucking wizard stick and then just like decimates everything. It's better if it's like, well, you had to have a smart guy like Oppenheimer and Fermi and Einstein to create an economic structure that's just more fun to play in, right? Like so however you want to view that shit, man, whether you're in a simulation. But my point is, you got like this billionaire genius like telling you this shit, like, hey man, this is clearly like, hey, fucking take a look around, man, take a look around. So, like, there's a lot of work to do. Like, that thing behind me is created. That's a tree. That produces oxygen. I believe in the molecules. I believe I'm breathing air. So, whether it's like some hypno being attacking our minds and we exist somewhere else, okay, and we're in some simulation, maybe we're already all on the moon, or maybe we're all on a spaceship going in galactical light years away, and we're alive in our own minds, in our simulation, but we're all connected through some neural net, and you got like some fucking, somebody infiltrated us, or we brought somebody evil with us, and maybe you figured out how to become so, but if you believe in the molecules, it'll help you, okay? Molecules are important. You have to eat, or you can't live and exist in the simulation then. How's that? Look at it that way then, if you believe in a simulation. Just saying. I can contextualize anything for you guys. But either way, we're under attack. Okay, we are under attack. Whether it's a hypno mind-bending demon, or it's a wizard. Or whatever, whoever the antagonist was in the wizards were I don't know if they're dark wizards or whatever in those books, man. I never was a big fantasy guy, so it was more comic books. It's not the concept fantasy or whatever, but so basically, whoever the antagonist is, like, so I don't know, like, maybe I'm a wizard and I'm a good guy, right? So, but we gotta start like operating under the assumption that, like, what is real is that we are under attack by an external threat that we don't fully comprehend, and we're in a cage. It might as well be a concentration camp, and people that explain what it's all about, there's plenty of good people out there trying to tell people in their own way. Me, I'm very explicit. Like, I don't know why I can get away with it, okay? Don't know why I can get away with it. Maybe I have the blood, or something. Like, I don't know, man. Okay, I don't know why I can get away with saying this shit. I mean, but I see other people saying it, but it's all coded. It's all coded, and it's not some crazy translation, man. I know I could sit down, pop that gram of meth in that guy's mouth, and like 3 days later, he's gonna be telling me the same exact fucking shit. All fucking hiding under a blanket, or give him a shroom, whatever. You don't like meth, or whatever. Something that keeps him up. That don't make them go fucking, humping for off to the races, basically. Somebody can sit down and be like, all right, man, now I know that I have an IQ of 500 based on the substance I just did, pharmacologically speaking, what it does to my neurons. I'm able to see what other people can't see. So So, because that's what, you know, some people microdose trips, they microdose psilocybin, man, and then they're like fucking super, really good at what they do. Suddenly, it's like, yeah, man, you just boosted your IQ by like 40 or 50 points with a microdose. So, you know, motherfuckers. See what I mean? I can't get no respect. Let's shift gears so before they'll kill me. You know, oh, what else? I want to talk about nature every time, right? Like, well, I mean, I say I can't be killed because I go random out the gate every time. You know, like what? For whatever reason, I'm kept alive. I don't fucking know what purpose this serves. I just smile. I say, I have no idea how this happened. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I want to talk about nature. So, like, look at the shark, man. I want to like analyze the shark and its existence. Like, this is a thing that doesn't sleep. So if you want to be like, oh yeah, you gotta sleep, blah, 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 what about sharks? Well, sharks don't sleep. And sharks don't ever stop moving. If they stop moving, they apparently die. So maybe like you can explain, like we could get through the pain. Maybe we ain't got to sleep at all either. Maybe we're a total different being that manifests ourselves in a physicality, and when you stop sleeping, maybe you finally wake up. Or a sick joke that is, right? It's a sick joke. Could you imagine being stuck in an end of the world bunker fucking with a guy like Ben Shapiro? That motherfucker wake up dead one day if he never meet. I'll climb right down that goddamn ventilation shaft and get him. Some guy in there just stirring up shit for no reason because he gets off on it. Like, so we're in like some advanced simulation. You want to believe that? Okay, there's people in here that are stirring up shit to fuck with other people's minds. So when we get to our end location, they're the only ones that are left. So anybody that's like supposed to be anybody who was somebody prior to, and now we're all in like a deep sleep simulation as we travel through the stars to the next planet or whatever. Then, all right, little guys like me are gonna be supposedly like driven out of my mind to the point where I like ended myself or something like that, or like, yeah, so these negative or evil elements in the system are gonna alienate us, and so everybody's just gonna hate us and not gonna listen to us anyway, because the whole time in the simulation we were made out to look, oh yeah, that guy's crazy, so however that works, right? Let's go find the end of the world bunkers, man. Like, I mean, you give me the right equipment, I can scale a building. I'll climb down that ventilation shaft. Like, I mean, I can go anywhere. All right. Need help though. Need help. So I mean, I do history, nature. Let's talk about the shark real quick. Like this thing does not sleep. Okay, this shark does not fucking sleep, or it's able to like function as doing its whatever it's supposed to do. Basically, it seems like it's supposed to keep us out of the fucking ocean. If you ask me, a shark's point of existence is to keep humans out of the fucking ocean. That's the only thing it serves, man. Like, things can die on their own if they do die, and go to the bottom of the ocean, and then be picked apart by little. I mean, they turn into what's called detritus, and there's little microorganisms that eat it, and then other things eat the micros. So like, what's the point of the shark? Like the God just created the shark to eat the whale because there wouldn't be too many whales, and then what happens when it's just sharks? Like, you know, like that was the point, was to have just sharks, or what's going on, God? You know, what's up with the shark, right? Like, you got this thing that don't fucking sleep, and it continually moves, and its teeth regenerate. So for all you know, that goddamn shark's like 18,000 years old. Just saying, for all you know. For all we know, okay? Like, this thing, like, it doesn't sleep, it has teeth that regenerate, it detects your heartbeat from like miles away, it can smell blood in the water like 5 parts per million from miles away. It's got this thing on its nose, it's called an ampullae of Lorenzini, okay? And this is basically like super advanced sensory object. Like, that thing smells blood in the water from miles away. Like, holy shit, man, let's cut that thing's nose off and figure out how that fucking works then, right? And that's, you know, we tried that shit, and I mean, I dissected a shark in biology, and I feel bad, but and then I went to a research institute in the Keys. You know, a lot of fun, swam with sharks, went scuba diving and all this shit, and but like, what the hell's the point of that thing, man? Like in nature, like let's contextualize certain things' existence. And my argument is that there's shit here that's created on purpose to fuck shit up here, because it's not just God. There's not just one God, right? There's other things vying for. Or you want to call it the devil, that's fine. Well, the devil's got a pack of, you want to have it, so it's 1 against like 20 then. However you want to look at it, man. It's God and us versus the devil and all these other fucked up creations. So the devil, Lucifer, whoever you want to call it, they're making these things. And then they're attacking us and our planet for some reason. So clearly, human beings are very powerful. We're very, very powerful in some way. We're very important, such that, or we're the custodians of this world, and they couldn't outright defeat us, so they had to, hypnotize us to defeat ourselves, eat ourselves, right? I mean, that kind of makes more sense to me if you want to look at like an alien threat externality. I mean, that's probably how I would do it. Fuck wasting our lives and killing those things outright. Like, get them to kill themselves. Trick them. Trick those monkeys into being, oh, look how good you look with no hair and blah, 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 blah. Where the fuck we came from, right? That's why you punch a shark in the nose. If you got a shark coming at you, man, hit it in the nose, because then suddenly it's sensory overload. Like, despite its brain, it'll get too much data to process at once. Okay? Yeah, yep. Just punch it right in the fucking snout. It'll fuck off, trust me. Goddamn thing don't have to sleep, just eats all day and it regenerates its teeth. I'd like to regenerate some teeth, but then I feel like I get harvested. Huh? Yeah. Keep eating them Skittles, man. Don't fuck around. Yeah. I mean, they're like dogs too. Like, so so it's like, all right, there's a, however you want to view the paradigm, whether it's wizardry, hypno, fantasy thing, or it's more, stuck in a molecular substrate, which everybody subscribes to, like, however you want to believe it, man. So like the second we start bleeding, like a dog can smell the blood. So either like something starts eating the blood and emitting a gas, or like the actual blood molecule gets taken off in the air somehow, or it bursts open as it gets exposed to the elements, and or dries out, and those particles somehow, some way, one particle from that blood cell has to get into the air, and that dog can somehow smell it from miles away, or like a wolf. And see, to me that don't make no sense, because like, man, I don't know, like, we should be able to pick that up on some type of instrumentation that, like, oh, the dog's nose is 1,000,000 times stronger than our nose, so all right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, to the point where it's like, okay, well, what's happened there on a molecular basis? Now suddenly we're asking too many fucking questions, because that dog's part of some AI system that's like fucking controlled, but it's only it already knows where you are, because the squirrels are telling the AI where the fuck you are, and then the AI sends the dogs at you. What they didn't know is, like, the dog became our friends because we're like, fuck it, man, you ain't coming at us like that. Check it out, man, we got something better for you. Start killing deer, opening them up, leaving the guts on the ground. Check it out. Yeah, look at what we do. Like, so now, by using a wolf, they've gotten humans to start killing other animals. Alright? Because, boy, they like eating them entrails for whatever reason, man. That's what the wolves, they're going to eat. They ain't going to, like, chew on your arm and, like, rip that. I mean, they will, it's a pack of wolves, like, eating you. But, like, the first thing they go for is your guts, man. They want what you've eaten. The damn dog wants the spinach in your intestines. What the fuck? Why? Because it's going to report back to the AI or God or devil or however you want to look at it. Don't argue semantics. I don't want to turn into a semantic debate. There is an externality. How's that? There's an externality that is aware when the dog eats your entrails. Now the higher intelligence suddenly knows what molecules that you ingested as a human. Fair enough? That makes sense to me. Why else does that fucking thing exist? Other than to fucking eat you? It wants to know what you've eaten. Because they wanted to study us. So, what better way to study humans? Something you can't defeat. You can't defeat your enemy, and you want to start studying your enemy. What do you go after? Like, well, let's check out their anatomy. What are they eating? What are they ingesting? What's in their body that we can't fuck with them in this way? Everything we've conquered, whatever, half the galaxy, now we're stuck here with these fucking things, and we want their planet, we're stuck over on Venus. Let's just say that. Hey, alright, Well then, how do we attack humans? How do we get them to fuck off this planet? Well, we can get them to kill themselves, but then they keep reproducing anyway, you know, like, you know, I mean, and then, like, something wants us to kill ourselves because they know something else is just using us, harvesting us, and living forever, and then causing them a problem. So it's like, we're like the victims here, okay? We're the fucking victims, and it sucks. And it's like each continent is like, might as well be a field. You know, the other day I was talking about how you had a field where like one year you'd plant corn, and then next year you're going to plant like a nitrogen fixing, like a legume, and then you're going to leave it fallow. Okay, so that's like basically what they're doing on like with our continents. So, well, the Chinese aren't going to come conquer us because we're only a nation of 100 million people, because the Chinese think we got 300 million people. And they've actually got 1 billion. And then, like, they'll get harvested. And then, you know, they'll report 1 billion. We'll report 300 million. And then, but we got advanced technology and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So they harvest us. And we're like fields to them. Each of our continent is like a field. And when we don't produce enough for the externality, they start giving us technology to help us reproduce and grow. Much like we do with corn. Oh, all right, you know, you're gonna grow a little scraggle corn out of this fucking sand. Well, tell you what, man, let me go sail halfway around the world at an incredible thermodynamic expense, or maybe I'll do it for free if I use a wind sail, right? Because I'm smart like that. And I'm gonna go find an island of bat shit, or no, not bat. I'm sorry, bird shit, right? So you got these fucking pelicans that have been eating fish. Gulls have been eating fish for 3 billion years. Or however, whatever time interval, and they've been landing on this island, and they just take a dump. And then after 3 billion years, you've got like 1 billion years worth of bird shit, guano. And now, like, you got your fucking, I don't know, Commodore Perry guy go over there and like go start fucking, you know, let's open the port up, babe. Like, all right, yeah, let's get that guano, let's get that bird shit. And then they came out, brought the bird shit back, and then said, look what the plants do now with this bird shit in it. Like, holy shit, we got the biggest fucking ear of corn ever. And then that was a problem, so they gave us another thing, like, well, actually, you can use that bird shit to make a weapon, and then just take shit from other people. And then somehow, some way, like, they convinced our society, like, bet, yeah, we'll go with that. No, hell no, we didn't go with that. I mean, they had to put in, like sociopathic leaders that were then installed in some type of power structure, or elected by, you know, like fake votes, and who then led us to war somehow for like rubber. You know, we had to go over to the Philippines to get rubber. We had to, like, I mean, I'm told, and then so some other thing came, said, hell no, you ain't fucking killing all them people. That's our field. We're gonna harvest them humans in 10 years. You ain't just going over there killing them for the tree, fucking rubber in the tree. And so they're like, well, how? And then the other faction of the immortal humans, call them that, end of time. They said, no, man, like, you ain't doing that. I'll tell you what, we're gonna go tell this guy DuPont what's up, and we're gonna tell him how to get this shit synthetically. So they start teaching us about the molecules. And that war, so it's like we're stuck in the middle of a proxy war as human beings. Between, like I told you, we're at the end of time. That much, I promise you, we were at the end of fucking time. And basically, all the shit's been gathered into one area, and now we're just all on like this giant island, fucking fighting over this shit. And we have like no context for what goes on, what's happening to us, because we're stuck in the middle of this like giant, you know, war between, you know, immortal humans, and I don't even know, man. I can't even contextualize it yet, because I'm still processing 40 years of data that I got. But I would say it's wizards, yeah, hypno thugs, like, yeah, like somehow, some way, you know, like, or maybe it's like some beings that are astrally projecting themselves, like, so if you're all just wavelengths and vibrations, all right, so how does that mean, like, you ain't just a bunch of light waves? Like, say we're already in a black hole, and all the light that's emitted, so if they want to, like, cause you cancer, all they do is go move a star, like, 8,000 light years away, and next thing you know, like, you're missing a piece out of you. Or they just go put a giant, so that light wave doesn't get into the black hole, which is where we all live. Just saying, you know, just throwing it out there. Makes sense. It makes fucking sense. So they want you to have cancer, like, you know, if we want to believe, like, we are in our spaghettified form. All right. This is the spaghettification, okay? Makes sense, you know. every which way. Giant ass universe, all the light waves coming in here, and they want to cause you cancer. Well, they're just gonna like go suddenly and put like a big mirror in front of that, or a big balloon, a mylar balloon, 8,000 light years away. It causes you cancer today. How's that? Huh? If you're just light wave vibrations condensed down, how do you know you're not already in the black hole? And we're living in a black hole. So so maybe that's why we're a threat. Or maybe everybody wants to live in the black hole with us, because hey, look at all the shit we got, man. We're condensed down fucking light. I mean, quantum mechanically, that I didn't want to go that far, but makes sense. Just vibrations of light. So how do lights get density like that? Well, this light had to originate somewhere. Maybe it came. So we're actually the reflection, or the so basically, like, each person here takes like 2 or 3 galaxies to create you, or something like that. Like, I don't really want to go that far. I don't even got time to think like that. Okay, but that's how my brain goes. But I'm staying here on Earth for now. I don't have time to think like that, because you know why? Because I can't travel. I can't get out of the black hole. Put it that way, right? So we're all stuck here. We're at the end of time. All right. So, let's talk about something about being human, though. Let's get down on ourselves, okay? Let's not talk about light beings and hypno beings, and let's talk about things that that's here now, that we can control. Like number one. All right, so. Yeah, I think I mentioned that. I'm tired of seeing our stars, our cultural leaders, and you see them on TV, and you can't really tell what time period they're from. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't put at least, like, you're going to be on the news. Can you please, like, pull out a pack of Marlboros or something like that, man? A can of dip. Put on a pin that says, like, Trump or anti-Trump, or just something, man. Something that references, something that would be, if we were in a simulation, everything is contrived, something that would say, hey, I'm a real mofo, because, like, I'm here with you, and I'm going to wear this pin that says something that's culturally relevant today, or I'm going to make something popular that, somebody else, like, I'm going to get on the coattails of some, like, YouTube streamer that was just a nobody, and they said a phrase, and now I'm going to start using the phrase. Like, or are they not saying a phrase? Because that's too easy. Like, if you're in an AI system, and everything's contrived in simulation, then okay, it's easy to do language like that. But, like, if you got, like, a physical object, like a pin, like, just wear a freaking pin that says something, reading is sexy. How's that? Can somebody please do that? Please wear a reading is sexy pin. Like, once, something. Oh, the producer, blah, 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 blah. Contract violation. Oh, I can see all the excuses coming now, man. Like, and then why it seems like it's a legitimate excuse. No, I can call them bullshit. Another thing I'm sick of seeing is, why the fuck, you're gonna piss all over the goddamn toilet seat, man. That shit irritates the piss out of me. All right? Like, how is it that, so you're in there, you're a human being, and you just go into this bathroom. Like, number one, you're not going to use the urinal, like, that's there. You're going to go into the stall, you're not going to lift that thing, and then you're just going to piss, and then, like, you're going to, like, clearly, like, you can't even, like, aim, and you're getting drops all over it, and, like, like, I want to believe it's a child, but once you're, like, at a really freaking busy gas station, petrol station, like, at 6 in the morning, and somebody's pissing on the seat, it's not a kid. They don't, like, hey, I cut a kid a slack, whatever. I mean, you're 3 years old, you fucking, whatever. The thing's, like, giant compared to you. Like, I get it, man. I was there one day, too. I had my training toilet, whatever. Like, how is a grown man going in there and pissing on that fucking toilet seat? Hell no, man. You're not fucking human. There's no way. Like, you don't even got the sense to wipe it up, and you want to share the planet with me? You can't even piss into this hole. And you want to share a planet with other people, and live in a society that has rules that protect you, but then you're just going to be some schmuck asshole? Like, hell no, man. Stop pissing on fucking toilets, man. I'm tired of seeing that. So you get these people, like, that's evidence to me. That's evidence to me you ain't human. Like, when you piss on a toilet seat and you don't give a fuck, man, like, fuck you. Fuck that. We don't need people like that. Like, you're a 30-year-old man. You're not even gonna lift that seat up, and you don't give a shit. And then, number one, like, I could piss into it. You could leave that down. Like most, they even put the little thing there for you, like the little cutout. So you want to piss on it, just piss right down the middle. But somehow, some way, you're gonna stand off to the left purposely, so your piss gets on the toilet seat. Hell, fucking no, man. You in this day and age, you gotta have that much education that you know what. Like at this point, it's like I ain't sharing the planet with people like that no more. Sorry. Like, cause if they're willing to do that and not give a fuck, man, they're probably willing to do a hell of a lot more things. Or you know what? They are willing to do a hell of a lot more to torture your life. Like they're doing that shit on purpose and they're getting off on it. So you want to share the planet with somebody like that? So you're great, because this guy's eating today. Your great grandkids are going to have to spend, like, you know, unless you're a Malthusian and you believe necessity is the mother of invention, which, you know, there's no guarantee that's going to fucking happen. There's no guarantee it's going to happen. So, when that guy pisses on that toilet seat, he's going to, like, I mean, you want to let that guy exist today at the expense of your great grandkid? Don't let that guy eat. Fuck you. You ever been in prison? You fucking sharing a toilet with all the men, man. They'll find out who pissed on that toilet seat real fucking quick. I promise you that. When you're sharing a toilet with 20 other fucking men, then believe me, they find that shit out real quick and they put a stop to it. So, you know, but those people exist. So it's like, hey, man, what the fuck? Just saying, you know, just saying. Tired of seeing that. I wanted to talk about synchronicities, intelligent, oh man, yeah, omens, staying up for a few days and then taking a big hit of weed, what to do against bullies, like, there's a lot more I gotta cover, man, guys. I'm at 2 hours, going over. I have to save it for tomorrow. Okay. I did cover a lot though, but I need help. I don't even do post-production. All right. There is no post-production on any of my videos. Okay. You got the raw data here. All right. You got the raw data. I still haven't even gotten into, like, I try not even to get political because we're going to start with, like, somewhere. Let's start with a fundamental basis of being human, okay? Never mind what country you're in, what state you're in. Let's just talk about first being human, okay? Let's start there. I got to build everything off of being human, all right? Yeah, I can pick apart the American political system. Like, you put me in a debate in a room on the podium next to anybody, man, I will slaughter them. I will slaughter them and get rounds of applause. Like, and I don't even have to talk about all this stuff, like all the existential externalities and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you want to pay me to look a crazy person, but you know what? Tell you what, I already know that the only way you're going to get voted in, like, I'll get all the young people's vote. Anybody under 35, I'll get every single one of their fucking votes, man. Just based on the way I look. Hello. Yeah, I've been through it. I know what you're going through. And I know the world's bullshit because I know there's no way in fucking hell that you're going to go get a $100,000 education on finance and then go buy some $400,000 home. You're going to look around and be like, fuck this shit. I'm going to just sit here and live at mom's and play video games because you guys are unrealistic. You guys are being unrealistic. You're just being unrealistic about you want to enslave me through debt and tell me, hey, you're not going to hire me unless I got this degree from this university and pay these people, but borrow from this bank, which your 401k is based on. Fuck that, man. People aren't stupid. They know that shit. You get a guy like me up there explaining it. You know, last good guy had Ross Perot, Ron Paul, man, explaining, like, look, this is the fundamentals, man. This is basic accounting, all right? People understand that shit. I'm not going to go spend $100,000 on an education when, like, I can just go to lynda.com for $30 a month, teach myself to code, and make a, you know, like, come on. LinkedIn Learning, or whatever the fuck it is now. There's your temporal distillate reference. I am here today with you in your paradigm subscription of time. 2022. So, how many times does that happen per Biden? I'll leave you guys with that. How many per Biden? That's the sickest fucking thing I ever heard someone say. So how many is that per Biden? Per Biden. How long do you live, man? Per Biden. Aside from a Ziploc bag full of house keys, freezer bag full of house keys. That was the sickest thing I ever seen. The sixth thing I ever heard was some motherfucker bragging, talking, being all fucking people don't know what's coming, blah, 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 blah. And then he said that phrase, per Biden, okay? Per Biden. How many times has that happened per Biden? Think about that shit. Stan sits down. I love you guys a lot. I'm here with you. Start a new society.